one knows. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? As usual, I am rushed, busy staining. I have a funny story about staining because everybody knows I've had kind of a stomach flu for a few days. There were 2 days that were really bad, and I was like either in bed or on the couch, whatever. And one of those days, Ian came down and he's like, I don't suppose you're into staining today. FYI, I'm never into staining, but no, actually, I am not going to be staining today. And so he's like, well, do you mind if, like, I want to hang the doors and stuff and you can just, stain with the doors up? I was like, yeah, I don't care. When in fact, today I find out I do care. What a pain in the ass that is. Um, I got about half as much done as I probably would have if it wasn't uh installed, but it is what it is. Live and learn, I guess. But anyways, how is everybody doing today? My light is shitty, but very overcast here today. But I got it's the best I got. So let me see. I'm just going up. Yes, ma'am. Good to see you. Hey, crime science stories. Am I glitching? Hope not. I don't know about anyone else, but in my opinion, nothing is sitting right with me regarding the RCMP. Unfortunately, they have a questionable approach to this case from the start. At this point, I have no faith, and I have tried so hard to hang on to my faith, but it's dwindling. It's good to see you. Botched this from the beginning. Yeah, cadaver dogs waited till September. I don't get it. In the Athena Strand case, they would not let Mum get out of the car until the dogs were done. Yeah, seems like everyone was stomping around that residence on Gairloch Road. That cost them. I believe you're right. RCMP have a duty to all the victims, precedents to Jack and Lily. However, so many have been dragged in and accused that makes them possible victims too. Some clarity from the RCMP would help. That's my point, right? I understand they can't come out and say, well, this is exactly what we're doing with our investigation. And I think we can all agree that they are looking into it, into the criminal possibility. But the Missing Persons Act allows them like quicker access to granted search warrants and stuff like this. So I get it. I get why it's not deemed a criminal investigation yet. But we know that they know the things that are going on online. We know that they know about uh, the harmful speculation that's going on. And I'm not talking about the Janie and the Daniel. I mean, that sucks. It does. But I'm talking about the completely collateral damage that doesn't need to be happening, and they're not they're not providing information that could quell that, even in the slightest. They're providing nothing, and I think that's so wrong. Police have part of their duty is community policing and maintaining a trusting relationship with the people that they're supposed to be serving and protecting. And in my humble opinion, all the way out in BC, it looks to me like they're failing at that. It really does. Talking to locals, the trust in the RCMP is dwindling, sadly. More focus on Malaya and her family. I agree. She has done nothing for her kids. Not that we've seen, and we've heard that she's doing lots behind the scenes, but I don't see how that's helping Jack and Lily if they're truly missing. Hello, Belinda Believes. Good to see you. And I didn't say hi to you, Carrie. Hey, Kimberly. Hello, Sugarmod's chat. Harley is right there, sleeping. I won't let him outside. He barks so much lately. It's like I'm scared he's gonna have a heart attack. He just gets so mad. Squirrels and stuff. Cindy Sperry, good to see you. Hey, Annabelle. Pinky, good to see you. Hey, Budettes. Little Black Bear, good to see you. I know it's not you, but there was a keychain that was delivered today, so they are on the way and they are arriving safely. So let me know when you guys get yours. I'm happy that I was able to do that, and I can't wait till you all get your keychains. Somebody brought up that there would be a good conversation starter. So, the more eyes on the kids, the better. Helicopter Grandma, good to see you. Hope you are well. Sending love and light. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Helicopter. Little Black Bear with some heat. RCMP screwed this right from day one, and we all need answers. Where is Lily and Jack? Please debunk some stuff, RCMP. Right? Just one sec. Did that work? Anyway. Hit the like and share. I'm just kidding. You can hit the like button if you like the live stream. I need a drink, just a sec. I feel bad when I do this, but please hold. You can watch me drink, but please hold. I feel like I've got and it's not nothing new, it's just remnants of whatever that was. My throat gets dry. Plus staining and dusty and crap all day. Ugh. Who else? Who else? Leanne, good to see you. Yes, ma'am, you were the first one. Where are my mods? Bonnie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Hey, Polly, the taxpayers will come for them if they knowingly wasted millions in Nova Scotia. Good point. That's why I don't think that they're purposely not investigating. I don't think that they're purposely not finding Jack and Lily. Like some people do believe that they know where the kids are, and it's just this. Give me a break. Just a small break. Helicopter, that's so nice of you. Ice cap on you. Thank you so much. I agree. Also, when I first seen that, I was, what the heck? They should be taping that whole area off. Yeah. SK 3635, good to see you. I believe Jack and Lily are on a tribal reservation being protected. Any RCMP know this. That's why nothing is being done. I can't get on that one. Sorry, but you're entitled to that opinion. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. That's cool. No pun intended. Thank you. Cute. That's so nice of you. Thank you. I believe chatting with people in the know that Jack and Lily are alive on a reservation being hidden there, and the RCMP know this. I think we've all heard that theory, and I can't. I'm not on board. Not on board. Dodie, good to see you. They would, exactly, yes, ma'am. They would have so much to answer for, and the public trust in law enforcement in that province and others, but that province specifically because of Portapic, is so dangerously low. I don't think that they would do that. I don't. They have way too much to lose. Ange, good to see you. I have to admit that I'm so lost with this whole situation. I am not pro with anyone anymore. Let's go back in time and look at where Jack and Lily lived. Who is to blame? I have no clue. Well, and I mean, I know that, Daniel and Janie, they watch sometimes, and I don't mean any disrespect whatsoever, but I mean, the fact is that the three adults on the property, and not as much Janie, absolutely not. I'm not saying that she was responsible, but the parents are responsible for their kids' safety and well-being. And I've said it, if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. And on that day they failed. And even Daniel, Malaya usually got up with the kids. She always got them ready for school and all that stuff. And when he wasn't working, he would lay in bed with Meadow. That was just their common. But if you see that Malaya's not getting up, why didn't you ask her, why aren't you getting up with the kids? Or like nobody got up with the kids. So it's no matter what happened, the accountability has to fall on the parents. Um, it's just it's the sad truth of it. Also, the RCMP could just say they are alive and fine. What secret would, and not just that, they could say that they could close the missing persons case and say um, Jack and Lily are with somebody known to the family, or if they know that this wouldn't be happening. Yeah, hidden and protected from what? Blue Jay, thanks for being here. You're on time. Her lawyers told her to zip it. Who's to blame? Bio parent for not protecting them and bringing them into that situation. Yes, big girl. Yeah, helicopter. Same here. My opinion. Clues are there in the beginning. I'm pro nobody as they were on the property, so know something. I agree. Anybody else? Yeah, Christina, good to see you. If that's what I didn't catch that, but if that's what Sky is saying, CPS or native CPS can help with that. If that's who they're being hidden from. Again, if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. The best way to protect your kids from CPS is to be a good parent, to work with them, to improve, to make sure your kids are taken care of and have the services and the help that they need if they're struggling. To ask for help if you need help. There's no reason to hide your children from CPS, uh, in my opinion. I don't mean to laugh, but it's, to me, ridiculous to think that. Truth and beauty. I was thinking about you today. Just so you guys know, these are the thoughts that go through my mind throughout the day when I'm staining and stuff, and I'm just, or by myself, and I'm just thinking. I think about each and every one of you. I, like your comments, they'll run through my mind sometimes, or like a super chat or something with a kind comment. I do think about you guys even when we're not live, and it bothers me because I know of somebody fairly recently who passed away, and because of the nature of this YouTube live chat, it's nice. I really enjoy everybody's company when we get to spend time together. But it occurred to me when this person passed away that, you know, as sad as it sounds, I would never know if one day you just weren't here anymore, or if somebody, you know what I mean? It's just kind of, it bothers me, but just know that I think about you all, and, I really appreciate everybody for being here and for all your kindness and everything that you do. And say helicopter again. Thank you so much. If somebody got that, not if, whoever got that membership, please make sure you thank helicopter. Lake Lady, good to see you. Guaranteed. Guarantee that. Whenever I ask people that are in the know, they won't talk about it. They just give me this tiny little smirks, and that's it. And that's why I believe, because the people I talk to are part First Nation. I mean, maybe they believe it. Maybe that's a case of, no offense, Durwood, but maybe that's a case of Durwood. I believe that his sources were feeding him bull, and he truly believed that. I don't know if he still does, but he truly believed that. And I never thought that Durwood was lying. And maybe the people that are telling you that aren't lying. Maybe they truly believe that, but it doesn't make sense in reality. Common sense tells me that the RCMP would not allow this to continue. Not the public, not all this shit, but the pressure to solve this case, to find Jack and Lily, what happened. And they're not even saying to bring Jack and Lily home anymore or to find Jack and Lily anymore. They're saying to find out what happened to Jack and Lily. We're going to watch some of Rob McCammon and Gillum, can't remember the last name, but a couple of the officers who have spoken over the last year. And we'll talk about it. But to me, it's not common sense. It's not based in reality. I would have, at this point, an easier time believing that they were taken over the border or something, and everybody knows how I feel about that too. So grateful to have found this channel. I'm grateful that you're here. And Mountain 8894, they sure do. Super excited today to see, maybe I'll show you later if I remember. Mustang, good to see you. Hey, Panorama, love that. Have you been here before? Thanks for joining. Hey, Sharon, everyone. I agree the reserve story is one of the most ridiculous theories I've ever heard. Like, and if it's true, if it's some reality that that actually happened, the RCMP do not know it, I cannot prove it, whatever. But the RCMP do. I don't. It's 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 fairy tale. No, no, sinister. Good to see you. Hey, Bonnie Garrett. Wish I took notes from day one. Notes don't even help at this point, man. They don't. They don't even help at this point. I have 3 computers with all different files on them, plus my phone, and there's nothing there. Belinda Believes, good to see you. Looney Tunes going and scheduling a live for the exact same time. That's it crazy. How is she? Hope she has lots of viewers. Hey, thanks for being here. Virtual hugs right back at you. Esther, good to see you. Melissa, back to work? You must have been tired. I didn't hear from you. That's okay. Marianne, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Hey, Yvette. And who else? Who else? Cindy Sperry, I think I said hi to you. I don't know what's going on. I just know what I see on these people's faces when I ask. They're very tight-lipped. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's bizarre. Corbin, thanks for joining today. Hey, Captain Injustice. Hey, Tom. Praying for answers. Hope so. There are a certain number of people behind the scenes that believe arrests are coming soon. Let me hold my breath. No offense, Rob McCammon, but who else? Who else? Seaweed, thanks for joining. Oh, my hair looks gorgeous. This is the result of heatless sock curls. Do you ever have a day when you wash your hair a little bit too late in the day? It's wet when you go to bed. If I go to bed with wet hair, it's out to here. So I wrapped them in socks and then I didn't even really look. And then when I went to do my live stream, I was like, holy. So I had to, because but thank you. I appreciate that. Cindy B, thanks for being here. Hey, Denise. And I'm not putting that up. Yes, ma'am, but you're probably not right. Or you're probably not wrong. I appreciate that, everybody. I need a dress network. Are we at that point? Am I behind in chat? Oh, shit. Weird. Old Garden Gal, thanks for being here. Again, I'm just putting it out there and my experiences with First Nations people. I'm not First Nation. I'm not trying to give you any conspiracies. It's just what I've experienced. I believe you. I'm not saying that you're lying and I'm not saying that you're stupid for believing what you're believing. I'm just saying I can't get on board with that for numerous reasons. That's all. But we can definitely talk about it for sure. You are welcome here. And we're calling you Sky, but it's not. It's SK. So what's SK stand for? Autumn Kristen. Thank you for being here, Autumn. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a second. Ernestine, good to see you. Hey, no glitches. It's hot there today. Not here. Hey, Nana. JJ, hello. 32 black bear in my office account broke. Wow, AC broke down. That sucks. It's like maybe 15 here. I don't like it. Not gonna lie. I am the first to critique the RCMP, but they thought the kids were in the woods nearby. For 6 days, Ron. I will. I will get you to join my team with that. 6 days. 6 days, all those resources. And then they went back. And never once protected any evidence or I don't know. You will join the dark side with that one. The RCMP is compromised with what we call wokeism and or political activists. They're risking a lot. If I don't agree. Uh, Wet your feet down. I don't know if it works, but it would be funny. Put wet socks on. I thought the RCMP were doing a deep forensic dive into everyone known to the children, according to Daleen. So they did get additional search warrants for digital forensics, and we haven't been told whose digital footprint they're looking into. Probably a few people, but from how I understand it, it's to other people known to the children in the circle. So Streamlabs is here. What the Grey Wolf, good to see you. Hey. Seafood, how are you doing? I love that. It's time to change your name, Seaweed. Apparently, the RCMP know they are hiding on a reserve. They're just not saying so. Okay, you've completely lost me now. Not even gonna read it. Bobby Joe, good to see you. Hey, Cheryl, just peachy. Awesome to see you. Hey, Camilla, sorry. Oh, so cool. Thank you, Cheryl. Bless you. Mr. Hemi, thanks for joining. Hey, Anastasia. Sailor Moon. Hey. Cool. Good to see you. Who are you going to piss off today? Nobody here. He's just so fantastic. Even if he is a mod for another channel. I'm just kidding. jokes. Didn't lock down the scene immediately, same as the new Glasgow case, totally botched. Same. I think the same. Tell me why Chance is so upset at Anita if she's lying. Because of her accusations, Dolores. I haven't talked to Chance, so I can't really speak about it. Malaya, she don't care about her kids. They were neglected so bad, and now she's saying they're missing. I believe they are deceased, and I hope the RCMP can gather enough information to put her. I can only imagine what you've said there. So. Helicopter is so kind. Brian, good to see you. Justice for Jack Lilly, good to see you. Thanks for being here today. Share Cares, hello. Charlotte Tooth, hello. And Daniel in prison, and let them do their time. And I pray that she never gets custody of Meadow. She is an unfit mother, and my heart breaks for Belinda, the biological grandmother. Thank you for that. What did you think of Sunny's live with her guest Alexa? I thought it was great. What did you think of Sunny's live with her special guest Alexa? Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing good today. 11 prayers, Justice, Jack, and Lily. If you can't get on with them, why do I only get smirks, not people upset over when I ask? I mean, I couldn't tell you. Maybe they think it's a joke. I don't know. Plot twist, maybe Janie is the perp. Could be why she's so angry and she's covering her butt, not Daniel's. I don't think so, but anything's possible at this point, which is sad. You are not late, Bev. Thanks for joining today. First Nations people around there that I asked, just smirks and half smiles, none being upset. So you're alleging that the entire First Nations community, even if only on that reserve, but the entire reservation is aware of it and nobody is saying anything? None of them want that reward? None of them have a moral compass to help find the kids? Is that what you're trying to sell here? Just asking. No offense, but it's not reality. Have no idea what goes on in people's minds. And maybe if, maybe if people have talked about that for so long, maybe they think of it as ridiculous and maybe they, maybe they just look at the non-First Nations people as the most ridiculous people for even considering it. I mean, maybe that's where the smirks come from. Or, depending on who it is that you're talking to, maybe they're just glad that somebody's buying into it and they're not looking at them. I sure hope so. AJ, Melissa. Anne, good to see you. Thanks for being here, Ann Mountain. Sorry, I think a background check needs to happen with all involved as to who and what was taking place prior to this travesty. Also, to the area at large of all previous scenarios, similar in nature. You would think that was one of the thousands of tasks they were doing. There's been so many more RCMP disasters in Nova Scotia than Portapique, right? But I'm saying that that was like the crescendo of a long-standing distrust of the police. And then we saw in the public inquiry report a lot of good findings, a lot of good recommendations, but not a whole lot to do with, I don't know. I'll leave it at that. They wouldn't say there was a slim chance. Made it on time. I get it. Like I said, you're welcome here. You're welcome here. But I do have my own thoughts. She should stop worrying about men and look for her kids. Agreed. They will be searching the last 3 years worth of info from the closest to Jack and Lily. I think everyone on the property knows what's happened and is part of the cover up. A newborn was hidden in the woods on the weekend and 2 people charged. And more charges coming, Ron. I don't know if you saw the update today. I'm not lost over the case. I know who and what needs to be done. Step aside, RCMP. The kids are not hiding. Day is still young, right? Giddy up. Char 184 versus TB18. That speaks volumes. Who speaks for Lily and Jack? Little Red Corvette, thanks for being here. I don't have very much faith in the RCMP in our province at this time. You're not alone. I don't live there, but I talk to a lot of locals. It's sad. A year, no word on nothing. Sorry, it's not ridiculous. They're on a reserve. You're wrong. Okay, go get them then. Don't go get them. Take somebody with you and go get them. Put an end to this. Oh, goody. Ian's coming in. Hey, Gren, thanks for joining. Who else? Hey, Dawn. All right, just move along. Move along. Oh, you did too? Excellent. See? They're coming. They're in the ocean. Search there. Who told you that? So if they're in the ocean, something probably would have walked up if they weren't. I don't even want to say it, but they wouldn't last too terribly long in the ocean. Well, don't you have staining to do? I need to drink again. Just one sec. You guys can watch me again. I just looked over and I saw, because I have this YouTube thing pulled up, and one of the stories is CBC News, as rumors swirl, missing children's family turns to YouTube. Before I forget, also, I put out a call this morning because I remember seeing a screenshot somewhere in a live chat recently where Tint or Jim Walker had said that he now believes that somebody buried the children in the woods. If anybody remembers seeing that screenshot or knows what live stream that was, like I said, after uh, it was after Tint was chased down and had a confrontation with Cindy. But it was in a live chat, and somebody sent it to me, and I cannot remember, and I cannot find it. Really, 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 really want to see it again, if you wouldn't mind. Who else? Newborn mom is still unresponsive in the hospital, but she doesn't appear to be a victim of violence, Corbin. We're watching it, but yeah. Just Jeannie, thanks for being here. What irks me is excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, yeah, it's just like I said, my mind goes weird ways sometimes, and I was thinking about that, and I just wanted to let everybody know that if I don't see you again on here, just know that I think about you and I appreciate you, and I do have the conversations that we have. So, Mary, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I saw your beautiful bench today. Nice to see it's being used. Yeah. I want to pull up that picture because it did most certainly touch my heart to see kids on the bench today. It's nice. More than 2 days. Hopefully that doesn't have to happen again. Without giving myself away, these are people in the know. Pretty sure I have a good idea who you are, and it's fine. Like I said, you're welcome. You're welcome here, and you're allowed to have that opinion. But I'm also allowed to disagree with you. Oh, wonderful. I wish I could see it. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to go to Nova Scotia so I can actually go and see it installed at the school. They don't have to be on a reserve to be in custody of First Nations people. True. True enough. But to think that there's more than one or two, maybe three people that know this and nobody is saying anything. Nobody wants that 150,000 or the chance for the 150,000. Nobody has a moral compass to put the public at ease. Nobody gives a shit that lives are being destroyed from harmful speculation. I mean, it's a lot to accept to protect kids from what? The non-biological father who is oh terribly so abusive? Like, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I just don't. Agreed. Yeah, Millbrook. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Oh, thank you. Thank you for finishing that because that would have irked me later when I remembered what your comment was. I'd have been, wait a minute. So thank you. Thank you. What irks me is that strangers show more concern for Jack and Lily than family does. They need to start talking. The truth would be a good start. Hmm. Okay. I don't know what you want me to say to that. I don't. You're never gonna convince me that the RCMP know where the kids are and they just allowing this all to happen and they're allowing themselves to look incompetent. It's not gonna happen. And who else? I'll be a monkey's uncle, and that would be pretty hard. How much shit would be raised if it came to light that they were on a res and the RCMP knew and wasted all that money and resources and allowed the shit to go on, allowed people to lose their jobs, lose their reputations, to be smeared all over YouTube for months on end? Like, come on. You want to talk community policing? You want to talk losing faith in your constituents and there would be no safe government. There would be no RCMP. There would be no major crimes. There would be no police departments. Everybody. I think it would be complete anarchy at some point if this all comes out like, well, they knew the whole time. Come on. I don't think that's what we're saying here today at all. There's no way they're on any kind of native land. Thank you, Blue Jay. Yeah, sure. The super rich people living on the res all don't want the reward money. Nope. Do you think she tried to give them away and it went wrong? Hmm. Eh. DA, good to see you. I never asked those questions. I just asked where Jack and Lily are. I can't get any of them to talk, just nothing. I believe you. I believe you. Missy, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Julia, hello. Hey, Kimberly. I think I said hi to you already. Uh, socks, never heard of that. Just Google sock, or heatless sock curls. It's a thing. TikTok. I have a problem. I do. I'll try anything if it's on TikTok, except for eat a Tide Pod. Again, it's my experience from people in the know, but I know I'm not trying to start anything. But and you're good. You're good. Yes, going back. Sorry, I'll message later. Thank you. 4Q Chucky, 5B4CK. Interesting. Uh, thanks for being here. I'm watching from London. Thank you, Chucky. I appreciate you being here. Brookie Cookie Butterfly, I haven't seen you forever. No, it hasn't been solved. Thanks for finding us today. Who else would they be with if they weren't abducted? Is there like a farm or something that anybody's heard about? Like, I've heard about that possibility that they were sent to live with a distant family member on a farm. They did not like to be cold and wet. They didn't like going into the woods. Jack certainly didn't like walking through the woods. No. July 7th is his next date, but nothing's gonna happen. Wasted, but that is what Malaya told them. I am First Nation. My people are not cruel to do this. Kidnap two innocent children. No way. I went into just a store on the well, not local, I guess, but there are a lot of reservations around where I live, and one of the larger ones, I went to a store there a few weeks back, and I had a conversation with somebody in there who was First Nations and who actually was from Nova Scotia and had just moved here 2 years ago. So she had some really good insight and gave me some suggestions that I'm not 100% comfortable with yet. Because I don't want to offend anybody, right? I don't want to go into um their office, their tribal office, and start asking questions. I need to decide on a, compassionate way to do that without making them feel like I'm in there to start shit or put them on YouTube or anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm not I hate being intrusive. Jack and Lily were failed for a long time, and after they went missing, they were failed 100%. Great. Disagree. Summer. I'm all about the summer months. Not, I like spring, but I don't like the rain. I love the flowers, but I don't like the rain, but I need to get the hot season, boat season. Was it on day 6 when the search, uh, I think they were out there for 5 days, but then halfway through day 6, we had a press conference saying that they were scaling back. 35. I need to go to London. I agree with you, helicopter grandma. Can't wet my feet while I'm at work. That's why it would be funny. Just do it. Relief is relief. Am I right? I had to delete my earlier hello, I'm all thumbs, and it made no sense. It's all good. You can see it with that first press conference with the land acknowledgement how compromised the RCMP is. Maybe they are. Me neither. Crime Science and Menopause hate summer too. Does. I used to be all about the heat. Like I could sit out in the heat for hours, and now I'm like, find me the shade, and I need a pool. Stat. I work on a reserve, and I get they do things differently, but there would be no point in hiding them this long, not to mention the criminal implications. And the struggles and the fights that they've had, they have fought so hard to get to where they are now, and they're still not where they need to be. They would lose all of that. Hello, Root Strength, good to see you. Many people on that reservation would have worked hard to dispel assumptions on their lifestyle and culture. Would they really want to trash that by hiding kids? Agreed. Corey, thanks for being here. We live on unceded Mi'kmaq territory. I don't know what that means. Missy, thanks for being a member for 5 months. irate. I am not part of the problem. It's people that are spreading false narratives. If you want to give hope that something like that is happening, but if you're going to, add in some venom and toxicity with it, then you're the part of the problem, not me. I'm open to all scenarios. I'm saying that I'm not going to jump on board that bandwagon because it makes no sense in my reality. You know, if they're on a reservation or if they're being hidden by native people, then go get them. Go get them. I am sure there are First Nations people watching this. In fact, a couple have spoken up. Go get them. I am not part of the problem. Crime Science Stories. Thank you for that. That's very nice of you. And Vision, good to see you. Hmm. New member. Thank you, Dawn. I don't like getting angry. Don't tell me I'm part of the problem unless I'm truly part of the problem. Grey Wolf, the RCMP would not allow the taxpayer money and resources if they knew where the kids were. 3 people involved. Possible. I don't understand with the different stories, inconsistencies, changes made to their stories, etc. by Daniel, Janie, and Malaya, how there haven't been any arrests or charges yet. I mean, I just don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I believed everything that Alexa said. Time for arrest. That was 100% sarcasm that I think the RCMP know they were on reserve. Yes, I know it was. You know exactly what DEI is? Do I? Do I know you? Do you know me? Because no, I don't. Not a clue. See, now you're stirring up attitude, and I don't like being that way. Simmer down. Chance was in court today. Yeah, simple assault. I thought wasn't it a breach of his undertaking? Something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. The RCMP were looking for 2 kids that wandered into the woods, according to Malay and Daniel. They didn't do their job in the beginning, right? And we know that missing children, even if it's classified as a missing persons case, because it's a missing persons investigation at like day 1. But the scene is always treated as, I don't want to say a crime scene, but it's an investigative tool to be able to, it's a procedure to secure the scene, to protect potential evidence until they can, I guess, ascertain whether or not a criminal act had taken place or not. So we are not wrong. No matter what McCammon says, they fucked up. They did. Another ignorant commenter. I mean, they can keep going and they can go join Durwood if they keep going. I don't like getting attitude when I'm here, but I will. Would have been nice to hear more from Alexis. Sunny just doesn't know when to. Well, well. Need my tinfoil hat? No, you don't. Let's just, if it was TikTok, I was up on the panel, I would have questions. Let's just say if it was on TikTok. The sock thing? Do you want to come up? I don't really want to talk about sock girls, but we agreed that the RCMP fumbled it from the beginning because they have incompetent people in there. Agreed. It's looking that way, unfortunately. If the children are on a reserve, it won't be in Nova Scotia. And nobody from that reservation wants the reward either. Nobody from there has a moral compass either. Hey, Tom, I enjoyed Sunny's Live with Alexa. It was very good live. Nice. They know the kids are there. That's why. And it is reality. Go get them. Oh boy. First Nations people probably think you're a beep, that they're tired of hearing it. I do not agree with that in my opinion. Nothing personal, but I do not believe that for 1 second. Very narrow-minded, as are you. As are you. You're going the right way to get booted out of here, and I don't do that. What's your opinion as to why the RCMP hasn't released the CTV from the dollar store of the children? Um, I think because, like, my opinion is that they should minimum release a still shot of the children so that we knew what they were wearing, because Malaya claimed that they didn't change their clothes when they went to bed. But I do believe the same as Daniel, that it's part of their investigation. They're not going to release anything to the public like that. That's just what I think. It was different, like if, like, Jeannie, Tori Stafford, obviously, other kind of surveillance videos when children are abducted or they're missing, and this was like, the last direction that they went. But these kids, they're little, they're 6 and 4 at the time. They're with their parents. They went into the store and they came out safely. Um, they I believe because they don't have evidence of an abduction, I think they ruled out the possibility of them being followed out of that parking lot, because we've heard those things from the States, cases in the States as well, where, a mother and her child or whatever followed home from a grocery store or something, and they were abducted or attacked or something. But I'm sure the RCMP looked into all of that and just determined that there was no useful content for the public to see in that CCTV video. But I would strongly disagree with that because of the misinformation about what they were last seen wearing. Because according to Malaya, they wore their clothes to bed. Hey, rambling, but is what it is. Um, who else? Darlene, thanks for being here. People say that there are no missing posters on the reserves, and I can tell you that this is not true. Thank you, Ron. That's okay. He doesn't have to. Um, Joe Neal, welcome. Just a question, do you know how offensive it is to First Nations people to accuse them of such things? Do you have experience with that when you're going around them asking those questions? Sunny has a way to do her channel, and I have watched her from day one with Shar. Sunny cares. Isn't that what we want? I will not judge. That's right. And don't make no mistake, you guys, we had Alexa has been on Sunny's channel many, many times, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Alexa's first appearance, I believe, was before mine, like years ago. So, I mean, Alexa is fully aware of how Sunny runs her channel, and she's good with it. They're pretty good friends. So, uh, be careful of what you read in your book. Much of what Pelago says is wild, unfounded conspiracies. Thank you, Monsters of Chaos. Thank you for being here. And we got no proof of Jack and Lily seeing on camera on Thursday at Dollarama. That's only hearsay. I don't think it can be hearsay. Like they can, the RCMP can lie. Everybody says they can lie, blah blah blah, and they can. But what they can't do is put false statements, knowing false statements in legal documents, court documents, search warrant applications, affidavits. They can't knowingly put false information in there. So, no. They were seen on CCTV video at Dollarama on Thursday. Bringing up a respectful comment towards First Nations people, DEI, that's bias. I don't know what that is. Green zone, wouldn't it help with the public to see? Yeah, 100%. It wasn't a good live. Usually when you have to have a guest on, you let her talk, not look for an opening to talk for another few hours. Then Grendel comes in late and gets his questioned. Yeah, they found the baby deceased though, DA. Any purpose? Maybe I'm just not thinking of it, but I do not know what DEI is. DEI. Will somebody please tell me what that is? I mean, it's quite possible. It's quite possible, but I'll just be, booting them out of here because I don't want bullshit. Like you can talk about whatever you want, but I don't know where they are. That's kind of a stupid question for me. Yeah, well, stupid is stupid does. Peace Spice, thanks for joining. Hey, how's it going? Aaron Spicer, police agencies sometimes seem stubborn about unsolved cases. Toronto police still haven't declared that Sherman murders cold. And that happened in 2017. Same squad still at it. Because he's building a house, Ori, that's all. Still don't know what it stands for. He's not staining. He was installing sinks. I sent you the video, didn't I? Seen him in the bathroom. Oh God, no. See what it is. Far from over. I personally do not think they're in the ocean. Somebody knows where they are. If they're in the ocean, you guys, they'll never be found. Not a trace, I don't think, ever. Harley's still sleeping over there, Joe. It was in the court docs. Like I said, I've covered that already. I think they're in the water or out to sea. Maybe. What was ignorant call mom just trying to be respectful? Don't think what you're feeling. Think with your brain. Okay. Wow. They don't lie. Yeah. They can't. Just hang on 1 second. This might be interesting. I had one phone call and they hung up. Don't know why. Now my brother's calling me. He's probably calling me for no good reason. Anyways, let's move on. Helicopter, thank you again for that. Oh, yes, ma'am, got that. Excellent. I don't have the chat, but I have statement he made to Wade about the kids being buried in the woods. No, this is after I saw a screenshot of it. I did. I cannot find it. I'm probably one of only a few people who don't believe they made it home Thursday. You never know, but I mean, I do believe that they were seen on the CCTV video only because it was in the court docs, and they cannot lie about that. So, if they're on a reserve, we have the worst police in the entire world. Come on, peeps, hit the like button. There's over 200 watching. What? 220 people? What are y'all doing here? All right. Okay. What if the CCTV video shows them all walking through the store, but it being somewhat someone else's kids and not Jack and Lily? I envision that, I mean, it's possible, I guess. You know, they're not in the ocean either, or they be seen driving to the ocean on cameras. There you go. You're not being racist, are you, Joe? I think the Dollarama video footage of Jack and Lily wasn't them, but someone else's kids, and the RCMP have found something in that video, in my opinion. That's totally possible. Like I said, maybe, but maybe they're offended. Maybe they're sick to death of people asking, and so they just smile and wave and walk away because they think, wow, there's another one. I don't know. I don't have your experiences, but you're okay to believe that. Looks like making an ass out of theirself. Yeah, yeah. It is. It is what it is. But like I said, uh, it's not that it's not that blocking people goes against my religion. I will do it. If I get worked up again, I won't get worked up. They'll just be gone. They're on Martell and Mackenzie property, is why they're all so angry with us. You can't convince me of that either, Justice for Jack Lilly, because you're looking at 140 to 150 searchers for 6 days, for 5.5 days, whatever it was. You're looking at search dogs, scent dogs, their scent dogs. You're looking at cadaver dogs. Then you're looking at 75 more searchers 10 days after the first search ended. You're looking at please bring me home out there. You're looking at please bring me out there twice. You're looking at numerous private searchers going out. Dogs, hunters. It's been over a year. So I don't think they're anywhere near that property. I don't. Laverne, good to see you. No need. Thanks. I hate to say it, but it doesn't sound that far-fetched to me. Go wait in the bus. It may not be my personal opinion, but most of Nova Scotia has that belief that they're on the reservation. Bobby Joe, can you please? Tint talked in Hidden in the Fog and said he made up with Cindy, so now he said he is not so sure Malaya is involved. He thinks she was being controlled or something like that. Gotcha. Okay, just a second. Is Daniel here? Let me get, you know what I'm like, you guys. I get behind in chat and I really, you know. Well, I think in a way we're all part of the problem of what's going on these days. You know, they're, I mean, never mind. Not even gonna say it. I'm not going, I mean, call me narrow-minded if you want, but I'm not going to entertain the children being hidden by First Nations people. I'm not even going to entertain it. Where is Daniel? I don't see him. Whatever. I'm going to send this to you, Daniel, and if you choose to come up, you can come up if you're actually in here. I don't see all the comments. Why are my mods calling me? You guys are weird. Anyways, I have to search for him. Um, I don't get all the doo. You know what? If it's true that he wants to come up here, he probably wants to come up here and defend the RCMP. Why would I get booted out just for having a normal adult conversation? I'm glad that you're here. I just, you know, I'm not going to talk about them being on First Nations land. That's all. So, why do you think this Anita says she will not take a lie detector because she's a lion? That's what I think, in my opinion. Way too behind. It doesn't look like I'm that far behind. 426. Holy shit. I had no idea I was that far behind. This is terrible. Why didn't you guys tell me before? That is horrifying. Because you were behind in chat. I see. Okay. I get it. What's going on? Oh, look. Look who it is, everybody. Good day, Daniel.
Pleasure to talk to you again, Charmaine.
Well, I did not realize I was that far behind in chat. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah,
What's going on?
there's a
How you been?
lot of questions. Pretty active in there.
Yeah, I don't like doing that. Oh, look. Monsters of Sabotage is here. So what's on your mind, Daniel? What's going on?
I just thought I'd come up and help you answer some questions. I guess I see a lot of questions on. They think the kids are on a reserve, or I'm here to defend the RCMP. Or
That was me. That's my bad.
I
That's
know.
my bad. So I'm gonna go back. I've got some pinned comments in my mod chat, just questions that people had had. So if you have anything that you want to answer that stuck out to you right in the beginning, you go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna jump over and just check something out. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I've only been here for like a few minutes. As soon as I came in, I seen that Mom was watching it. And when I was talking to her, and then I decided, yeah, you're answering a whole bunch of questions from the chat. So I figured I could jump in and, try to help.
Okay, yeah, and thanks for watching, Janie. And like I said, no shade. What I was saying before. I mean, the fact is, so going back to something that we did discuss, and I don't know if you heard it or not, Daniel, but we were talking about the CCTV video and people. Well, I mean, it's not that people are going to believe you anyways, but just say it for the people that are lurking. Was it Jack and Lily that left the store with you guys that day? And do you know why they won't release it to the public?
The reason why, yeah, well, first we'll start off by saying, yes, it was me, Malaya, Jack, and Lily, and also our daughter, right? I'm not going to try to avoid saying her name on here. But yeah, we were seeing a video at Dollarama. And then also and in the court documents, we were also seen by my coworker in the parking lot as we were leaving. So there's two sightings just in that one area there, and they won't release the CCTV footage just due to the fact that it's considered evidence. I asked to see it so I could match the children's clothes that were here at the house, and I figured that would be the best way to get the best description possible, right? Because if their clothes were changed, then obviously the clothes that they would have changed into would have been gone, and we would have had the ones from Dollarama here. But when I asked for the CCTV footage, they told me that, Daniel, it's considered evidence and you're considered a witness, so we can't give it to you. We can't let you see it.
That's kind of what I thought. Okay, so I've got this a number of people wanted to know what you had to say or what your thoughts are on Brandon Lemieux. Is he aware of any relationships that Malaya may have had with Brandon prior to you getting with Malaya? What does he think about the things that Brandon stated that he had found while searching? What does he think of the RCMP losing that evidence? And what does he think about his second statement that came out later? Were you aware of all of that information? I'm
Well, you
pretty
can
sure
fill
that
me
you
in
and
on
I have
some
had
of it.
it.
I do have, some knowledge on him. He was discharged from the military because of mental illness. He got an honorable discharge because his wife left him and his life spiraled out of control. And he was discharged from the military for mental illness. So he does suffer from severe mental illness. He messaged me on May 5th and he said, "Where are the babies at?" And, Major Crimes has came to me multiple times bringing up his name, saying that he keeps going into the RCMP or putting in tips, directly attacking me. And they asked me, do you know him? Did you ever hear of him? I said, no, only the messages I've received from him. But yeah, he's been lingering around the case and these odd times where it seems very, very odd to me. But I guess he was here for the initial search, but he wasn't a searcher. But somehow he was in the area searching. I'm not, listen, I'm not sure on any of it, but he just seems, very odd. Major Crimes has brought him up a few times because he puts in so many tips against me. But that's really all I know is what people tell me, right, about the mental illness that he has and, just the odd things that he's done.
Okay, right. And there are obviously a lot of questions. And so I'm going to go just one by one and I will get to as many as I possibly can. People want to know, and I know that you told us last time, but why is it that you're banned from the reservation? Can you just remind people?
It's one of the provisions of my undertaking.
Thank you. And so another bit of speculation that we've heard was that the witness, your friend from work or whatever, had heard, he saw Malaya with your youngest daughter,
Hmm.
um, but heard other people in the vehicle. Have you heard that? And who else was in the vehicle, I guess?
There was Lily Jack in the vehicle. That would have been when Malaya was putting our daughter into the car, right? And that's when Malaya got the new car. So, Ed was, checking it out and everything. And so the back windows are tinted so you can't see inside. So he only heard the kids, right? Lily and Jack in the back.
Makes sense to me. Thank you. And so that was this one. And I think his name is actually in the court documents, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So, okay. And then Monsters of Sabotage, welcome in. Daniel, did you give back the car seats, and when did you give them back?
Give Lily and Jack car seats back. I'm guessing that's what Monsters is referring to. They were in Malaya's vehicle.
So in Logan, I think she was on Hidden in the Fog early on, and did she say that Malaya's vehicle had to be towed out of there? Why
Yeah,
was
there's
that?
pictures of that. When Cindy and Malaya and them, they abandoned the search. That's what I call it, because I mean that's what it was, right? Um, they left the car parked at the end of Lansdowne Road, right at the intersection there. And when I went up for the next day to the search briefing with Commander of Operations, I think my brother was there with me for that. And Commander of Operations, name's Josh. He told me that this is exactly what he said. They're sick and fucking tired of the vehicle being in the way, so it had to be towed out of there because I left it right at the bottom of Lansdowne Road, and at that intersection. So the searcher's vehicles were having a hard time, going around it and everything. It should have never been left there. It should have been driven, to wherever,
Yeah, that's
Cindy's or wherever, right? And then my
yeah,
wallet was left in the vehicle, and they took my wallet. So I had to ask Major Crimes to get that back for me. And then some of the stuff was taken out of it, but all my important stuff remained. But I did get my wallet back at least.
It's very strange to me that she didn't drive her new car when she left. Did do you have any insight why that would have happened that way, or was
I
it?
don't know what to tell you. When Malaya came out of that ambulance, she was shaking uncontrollably, and it was unlike anything I've ever seen a person go through. Up to that point, she grieving mother, it seemed like, but like after she came out of that ambulance, she was a totally different person. She couldn't make eye contact, and she was shaking uncontrollably, and she kept saying, "I have to go with mom. I have to go with mom. I have to go with mom." And that's when I tell the story that her mother said, "Get in the car now, Malaya," and then they just drove away. And that's when I had to chase after the car and say goodbye to my daughter. I said, "Daddy loves you," and they sped away as fast as they could. And someone could have drove that vehicle home. Could have been Haley. Could have been any one of them, right? Could have been Cheryl. Could have been Shelby. Could have been any of them. But they decided to leave it at that intersection for some odd reason.
Some of these some of these some of these questions, they're based on, I think, rumors and shit, and unfortunately we have a couple of people who just like to talk, and then these theories come up, and then people, because there's so much, people get it mixed up with what the fact and what's not. So I'm gonna
Some
ask you
people
these
accuse me of
questions.
that, Charmaine. Talk just to talk.
For sure, for sure. But I mean, you know what I mean. And I'll start it out with this one, just real simple. Daniel, do you think Anita is beautiful? She said you commented on how beautiful she is when you met. I
Yes, we
think
can go into that. I never met Anita in my life. I had no idea who she was until she was on Mike DeMan's show. And I never met her in the driveway. That's a complete lie. I have no idea who she is other than Mike's show. And, she said she met me in the driveway. I walked up to the car, and she thought that I thought she was a reporter. I know all the reporters personally. So at that point, that completely goes out the window. And to say that Cindy was in the back seat hiding underneath a blanket, why add such odd things to that? I never met her in my life, and she's definitely not beautiful, but I never seen her, so I can't speak on that. But I'm guessing just from the mouth she has, there's no beauty there.
Yes, that was kind of my point. Like you can be told you're gorgeous all day long, but if you have an ugly heart, then congratulations on your face, I guess. Daniel, Anita says, Jack and Lily's coats and an extra large men's turned up at Cindy's place in Wentworth. How do you think they got there, and whose large jacket would it be?
First of all, I don't wear an extra large coat, so that's definitely not mine. And they don't, you know, have any of my coats. And for Jack and Lily's coats, Jack's navy blue spring coat, like as I mentioned many times, that's missing. But there's no coats of Lily's that were missing from the house here. So I don't even know. Like Anita, just I don't know like what her prerogative is or what she's trying to push or what she's trying to get out of it. I just think she seeks validation because she finally has a community behind her that, individuals actually trust what she's saying. And I think it's gone to her head. But I think that's the main reason why she speaks and, tells all these lies is she's just seeking validation at this point. And, when Mike has 100 people in there watching her and they all believe her, she just feeds off that. And it's a detrimental thing to the case, I believe, because I don't know if I should say this, but I even have messages from investigators telling me that we're aware of, Anita's false claims, and we're fully aware of that, Daniel.
They use the word false claims because
Yes, they.
that's the whole reason why I'm doing this live stream is because they won't shut any of it down, you know?
And I'm gonna sound like I'm defending the RCMP, and you're probably correct on this, but as long as they have, there's the public has their eyes on Anita, and unfortunately Darren and some of these other individuals. I mean, it takes the heat off the RCMP and allows them to work as long as the public's not harassing them and stuff. Just stuff of that nature, right? As long as the public has their eyes somewhere else, or it gives them a chance to do their job.
I just want to point out really quickly for everybody, I don't have anybody backstage here helping me start comments, so I've seen a couple of kind of ignorant comments, and I won't have it. I don't give a shit who you are. If you're going to be a dickhead, you can vacate. Um, so so would you agree, Daniel, that getting new eyes on the case might or is beneficial? Do you think that way as well?
I constantly see new eyes on the case. There's been many major crimes officers, not just the ones that were mentioned before, but when I talk to major crimes, either I go into the station or they come out and talk to me. There's always usually a new officer there or one that is familiar with the case. That's in the background, right? Not a liaison investigator. We only have one now. We went from 2 down to 1, but they fill in with other officers that are familiar on the case, right? That have the background knowledge. So there's constantly new officers coming in, and I always ask them, do you have any new questions that maybe weren't answered yet, or maybe you want to know, because there's so many different angles they could come at. And I enjoy hearing every angle, because then it gives a new perspective on the case, and I think that's what we really need. But there is many officers that are you know that are kind of like coming in and that are working on it, that are just in the background. They're all major crimes officers. It's just they're not liaison. I don't answer to them, right?
Yeah.
Like
No,
I've
I
met at least, um, I'd say 8 or 9, maybe even 10 different major crimes officers that have, you know, I've had the pleasure to speak with, and like the perspectives are really good from all these people. So it's
so,
not
but
just
I
your one or
mean,
two officers.
no, I mean, I get that, but I cannot get past the recent, and we've talked about it before. We talked about it on the last stream that you were on. I don't know if you touched on it with Sunny in that 9.5 hours. I don't know, but we've talked about how Jordan, how Chance, how now Logan and Janie and all of these people are being affected by some of these harmful false narratives. You know you've been under that cloud of suspicion since day one and you've accepted that. But these other people who are being dragged into it and smeared, and their lives are literally being ruined, and they're not ruling any of those crazy theories out. And I don't understand how that can be happening. Have they ever said anything to you about why they can't or why they won't? You can't tell me that they haven't been able to rule anything out.
Well, when I go in, I talk to them about all the people that are affected. They always write everything down, so everything's brought to the forefront and worked on in the case, and brought to light, and everything. All the stuff's documented. Like Chance losing his job, that's directly linked to Anita. There's no doubt in my mind that's a direct link. And everything's, as I said, everything's done in documentation, but it's a lot for them because there's so many moving parts, and in the construct of it all, it's there's so many individuals that are affected. They can't keep on top of everything. It's the amount of resources aren't there, right? It's not the FBI or something of that nature where they have a lot of officers and a lot of resources at their disposal to capitalize on everything, right? It's We're talking about Nova Scotia here, so I mean they're very good at their jobs, but it's just like they don't have the manpower and overall resources to just work on everything at once, unfortunately. That's my perception on that, or my perspective. There's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, even if we just take Jordan, right? So we've got these accusations and this confrontation recording that Anita put out on Mike Demand show, and then not shortly after, but somewhere along the line, Jordan gets arrested, and now Anita is taking credit for that while continuing to add on to the accusations. And I've seen the undertaking, and I've seen a lot of things in that Jordan situation that I know the things that Anita's saying isn't true, but his life is still being turned upside down. So why
Yeah,
wouldn't
and
they
his
set
life's
even
been
that stuff
turned
straight?
way upside down. I mean, it's not on the level that mine is, obviously, but yeah, he gets harassed quite a bit. I mean, he has drones there. He constantly has people stop and taking his picture, and taking pictures of the property, and harassing him in that sense. And that's super unfortunate to see and hear. But and I also do think something should be done about Anita. Like, I'm totally for that because it's too out of control. I mean, she's made it like a nightly thing to join, Mike's channel, and yeah, it just continue the harassment and continue the lies. And it's a crazy thing to think about that they just let her go like that. And I mean, everything's lies. I mean, even all the way down to she said that she was somebody was after her, so she sped to the RCMP detachment in Tantallon, and then they told her to go wait at Tim Hortons for investigators. And I brought that up to them, and they said that's total bullshit. So the amount of lies that she constructs in her own mind is it's apparent to everyone. I just don't know how people fall into the trap of believing it. It's a total nonsense.
It is beyond comprehension to me, and I mean, who knows? Have you heard recently that people are saying that your vehicle got stuck in the mud? And we have a question here, if that's true. Who helped you get your car out of the mud, and why did you squash it?
Oh, I squashed the car. Yeah, well, my car got stuck many days in advance. It wasn't like the night before or anything like that. And the reason why I squashed it, because first of all, the inspection was up. And when you live in Nova Scotia, your cars rot out super fast. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but yeah, vehicles up for inspection, and it sat in the yard for I don't know how long, months and months and months. I had it crushed just like prior to the handlers for bringing the cadaver dogs, and they asked me the exact same thing. Why did you have a crush? And I said it was starting to rot out. We live in Nova Scotia, and there's no saving it at that point. So I just thought it's just an extra vehicle in the yard. It was already searched. It was already everything that would need to be done with it because it was there for months and months and months. And I just decided, yeah, I'll just scrap it at that point.
So, but you can understand just the way the public is, how that does look suspicious. Can you,
Well, investigators didn't find it suspicious, so they never asked a question on it.
right, but can you,
After it sat there for like, I don't know how long, 4 or 5.5 months, it was, they had all the time in the world to do whatever they need to do with it.
did you have prior knowledge that the police were coming back with cadaver dogs? Did you have any information beforehand that that was going to happen?
Oh, when they originally brought them here, you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I had no idea what day they were coming, and I just like to know that day. It's like, oh yeah, we're taking the cadaver dogs there that day, so I can be ready for the absolute onslaught that I get online. Oh, they brought the cadaver dogs there, Daniel. You know what I mean? You're probably shaking in your pants now. It's like, no, I've been asking for cadaver dogs for how long? And then they're welcome at any time to bring them back. Mom said, like, bring the dogs here. Like, you can bring as many officers as you want here to do a search again if you wanted to. And, Mom's always open to that. It's the exact same as I am. They can bring the cadaver dogs back at any time.
Right. And I mean, just hearing it, I already know what's gonna be said tomorrow or later today or whatever about that. So you knew that eventually cadaver dogs were coming. So then you had this vehicle smashed or crushed, I
Mhm.
believe is the right word for it.
Well,
So
there was no
is there
inspection on
anything
it.
that you can,
Was I supposed to keep it in the yard for like years, or a year, or 8 months, or 10 months? It didn't make sense. I mean, there's already enough vehicles in the yard right now. If there would have been an extra one, there would have been 5, right? Because Mom has 3, and then I have 1, and then there wouldn't have been my other one. So there would have been 5 vehicles in the yard. So it didn't make sense. The driveway's not that big. And I had no use for the vehicle at that point. It started to rot out and mechanically fail, so I just had to haul it away for scrap.
okay.
Yeah.
Daniel, do you remember, and not just the last thing that Jack had said to you, what is the last memory you have of Jack and like interactions with Jack? What was that like? Like what is your most, I guess, recent, whatever, your last memory of Jack before he went to bed on Thursday, I guess,
The
or
last memory
Wednesday?
I have is, taking them out of the vehicle, and I usually, would walk the kids down to the house. Usually when I grab like the groceries or grab the, you know, stuff we bought at the stores, and I would take them down the house, and that's the last memory I have of Jack. I do believe that I can best recall after a year was just taking them down to the house. Well, for Jack anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. So Daniel, no one seems to know about the two T-shirts that were found on the New Glasgow Road, one pink and one blue, or am I losing my mind? So Shy, I do know about the pink one. It was like from what I could tell, the picture was taken on May 2nd. It had already been the pink shirt that was found was already sun bleached. It looked to me to be too big for Lily, but I didn't know about the blue one. Do you know anything about these?
Where were they found at? New Glasgow? No, I don't know anything about shirts found in New Glasgow. That's like 25 kilometers from the house.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that either, Shy. Oh, so why did you turn the lights on Jack and Lily's room at midnight? Was that common for you,
Yeah,
or like
I
what was
usually did that. I usually did that all the time. And I don't
just
think
to
people should find that odd checking on kids when they're sleeping. They were young kids. I don't see that as being odd. And it was a little bit after midnight.
Yeah, I used to do that, but I would flip on like the hallway light
Hmm.
instead of because I wouldn't want to wake them up. Do you know what I mean?
Lily and Jack used to sleep really good. Like they never used to wake up during the middle of the night, not unless they were sick. So I could flip on the hall light, but it's just as easy to flip the one on in the room for them and then take a quick look and see they were sleeping, and then
For sure, if you're not, if you're not worried that you'd wake the kids up, I mean, it's possible. Like I could see it. So Little Red Corvette didn't read this one all the way through, but does Daniel know if Malaya knew Hudson, the female VHM mentioned, was going to take the kids? Malaya's father knew Hudson woman really well from Shubi Res. Do you know anything about this Hudson
no, I have
female?
no idea. I have no idea. Is that Hudson last name, I'm guessing?
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know what a VHM is either, unfortunately.
Did Malaya ever have a job during her time with you?
No, Malaya never worked when she was with me. I think the last time she worked was before Lily was born. I think um, she was pregnant and she worked at Michael's, like the art and craft store. And then she went off on maternity leave, and she never worked since. And I don't ever see Malay ever working again at this point.
Yeah. Peace Spice, a YouTube creator who talks to Malaya, said that you snuck up behind her and threw her mail in the trunk while she had it open and you terrified her. What are your comments?
Yeah, I'm guessing that YouTube creator is probably shenanigans. I'm guessing. We can talk about her in a minute, but yeah, I didn't startle her in any way. She watched me walk up to the car. She had a smile on her face. I set the Lily and Jack's tablet in the back of her car along with 3 pieces of mail. They were from the Pictou County Health Authority. I don't know what they were. The only thing I could guess, usually when you get stuff from the health authority, it's usually health cards, but or no, or not unless it was something to do with their autism diagnosis that they were supposed to have. That's the only two things I can think of. I didn't open the mail, obviously, because that's a federal crime. But yeah, when I set the stuff in the back of her car, I didn't sneak up on her. She wasn't startled. She smiled at me, and I said, "Have a good day, Malaya." Turned around, walked in for my visit, and that's when she reported me to a supervisor, and they told me if I have any more mail or anything to give her, just give it to them, give it to CPS supervisors, and they would hand it to her. That was the second time she reported me to CPS. The first time was for parking too close to her.
Hmm. Wow. Wow. Um, so early days and all of the interviews, and we've been rewatching a lot of stuff, but you said that you had to run through water that was up to your waist, and we talked about why weren't you wet? You said you were wearing splash pants. Um,
Mhm.
but Jesse D would like to know where exactly the waist deep water is, like
The waist
nearby
deep
the
water
house?
is right beside the house. When you're looking out to the end of the driveway, you look to the right hand side. There's a little stream, and that's the one that runs down right behind Bradley Wong's house. And that's when I ran up through that water there. And there's a beaver pond that's up and behind the house there. And I went up through that river. In the springtime, it's flowing pretty heavy. But as you know, the summer goes on, it goes down to basically dry. But in the springtime, there's a large amount of water that comes down through. Yes, that's where I was in waist deep water with helicopters above me.
Thank you. I want to address this. Um, Anita is beautiful. Shar, you're mad because Mike, mad demand don't like you. Mike demand can kiss my ass. I don't care. I don't care. Go away.
I think
Thank
there's something going on with them too. There's some type of emotional attachment that they built up, and it's apparent from the way they talk to her. I mean, the way he talks to her and the way she talks to him. I mean, she said in one of the lives I remember seeing it. Mom might have been the one that told me that, but she even says to Mike in there, "If you were here, I would kiss you on the cheek." And like, what kind of a woman says that when they're married? I don't know if I brought this up before, but what kind of a woman says that when they're married, that they would kiss another man on the cheek? I mean, that's very, very disturbing. And second of all, I don't know how Anita's husband or boyfriend puts up with, all the lies she spreads and just the false claims, as investigators say. I don't I don't agree with it one bit, and I don't know how he puts up with it. I mean, because they're not just dragging him into it with everything. It's um, dragging their business into it too as well. Because she comments on Facebook, stuff to do with Lily and Jack, and she comments under Maxwell Roofing. So she even attacks people using the business Facebook account.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. It's mind-boggling to think that her boyfriend is okay with it and that she is okay with it as well. So what I'm gonna do, you guys, because I'm reading some of the chat and it's distracting me because it's pissing me off. Like, get a grip, people. Like, honestly, I'm not gonna ask some of these ridiculous questions. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask questions that I have, and if you guys don't like the way that I'm doing it, you can thank some of the ignorant people in chat. Um, so first of all, I have to let Carly out. So I'm gonna ask you to go through as much of Wednesday as you can remember, just because I need a few extra minutes.
Mhm.
I know that you didn't have a whole lot of information to give about Wednesday before, but people have asked me to get that from you if I could.
Do the whole rundown on Wednesday when we went over to Truro and did laundry and everything. Well, Malaya did it while I watched the kids. But yeah, we got up that morning and then we got ready and we went over to Truro to Patty's house. She lives in Bible Hill. Well, she used to live in Bible Hill. And so we got over there. We had like 5 or 6 bags of laundry, and she said, we're going to be over here for most of the day. I might as well do laundry. And I said, all right, like, because she doesn't see her grandmother that often. Right. And Patty would be 70 now. So, and Patty's not in the best of health. But I'll continue with the story. We went over there, we were doing laundry, and Malaya was doing laundry. I was watching the kids for most of it in Meadow. I guess I shouldn't be saying her name, and Malaya left for the DMV, and she was gone for, I don't know, an hour probably. maybe an hour and a half. I'm not sure in the exact time, but I looked after Jack and Lily for most of the day. I didn't sit in the car for 8 hours, as some people say. And we got home 10 o'clock or 10:30 that night. It was pretty late because I was talking to Mom that night, and I said, like, Mom, I wanted to be home like hours ago, but we were over there for like 8 hours or something like that. It was a long length of time, and it's a lot to remember, like, from a year ago. But I try to do my best to, have the best recollection I can of everything. But yeah, and as of I know, like, I don't know where Malaya's clothes went. I'm assuming she left them at Patty's house. I'm guessing she left them in the basement. I was unaware of it because she had my clothes and Lily and Jack's, and also some of our daughters as well. So when we got home, I took all the clothes out of the car. I was unaware that Malaya's clothes weren't there at the time. So I'm guessing she did leave them at Patty's. So in saying that, her leaving me was premeditated. So, I mean, that's really the most I have to fill in on that. There's not really too many details that stick out that are, in my mind that give any more detail. I asked investigators on Wednesday, they could triangulate Malaya's cell phone and the GPS in her car to see if she went anywhere else other than the DMV. And, because Cindy works quite close by, she works at the hospital in Colchester. So that's pretty close. And right in between, that's Walmart. So I said, like, check all the cameras, check if she went to the DMV, what time she arrived. You can check the GPS in her car, triangulate her phone to see if she only went to the DMV like she said she did. But I don't know what she told investigators either, right? They don't really fill me in on everything. So when people tell me that, oh, you're covering for Malaya, why would I try to come up with all these extra things to try to help investigators if Malaya has anything to do with it, right?
Right. Um, so that was Wednesday. On Thursday, you guys got home around 4 o'clock. So I guess the last time you saw the kids, do you remember exactly when that was? I guess
I'd
you're
seen Lily
sticking to
twice
midnight.
on Friday morning.
Okay, and I also, you know what? I seen a screenshot the other day, and I think it was to me that you said that you and Malaya both saw Lily Friday morning. Do you still think that, or do you
I
remember
can't
that?
speak for Malaya on that, but from what I've seen, I'm pretty sure when Lily came into the room once, Malaya did see her, but I was unaware of the time because there's no alarm in the room. And I sleep in with Meadow every day when I don't work. So I was unaware of the time. I knew it was daylight because I could see some daylight coming through the curtains, but I was unaware of the time. And also, I didn't know the kids weren't going to school that day. Malaya kept them home. And I didn't know what time they were kept home at until I looked at my email later that day. And I seen it was 6:17, 6:18 a.m. that were marked absent.
Right. And so for that whole week, we know they went to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was a PD day,
Hmm.
Thursday and Friday. When did Lily start getting her cough, and why didn't Malaya take her to the doctor, number one? And number two, I've recently heard that she kept the kids home to give them a chance to get better. So a lot of people are like, well, why did you take them and drag them around to Patty's if Lily was sick, and then to town on Thursday? Like, what what's your response to those types of things? Like, how sick was Lily? Why did Jack stay home? And why didn't they go to the doctor? And why, well, just why? Like, why?
Malaya kept Lily and Jack home a lot because they were sick, but Lily only had a cough, right? So she just kept her home from school. I wouldn't have kept him home on Friday. That's what I told Commander of Operations when I did the formal interview with him. That was the very first formal interview I ever had with, you know, major crimes, technically, because Commander of Operations is a member of major crimes. And well, at least the one of the ones I talked to, the original first one wasn't, but he would work for the RCMP in Cape Breton. And usually from what I know, they are part of major crimes. And I forget where I was going with that, but that was the very first formal interview that I had, and I sat down with him, and he asked me the same question. He's just like, were they sick on Friday? I said, like, when Lily popped her head in the room, she didn't seem sick to me. She never had a cough, and so I wouldn't have kept them home. That's what I told him. And he said, "Thanks, Daniel. We're gonna do everything we can to find the kids." But I would say Lily, had a cough on Wednesday, and it was on Thursday as well. But I wouldn't have kept them home. Malaya kept the kids home a lot, and that's not my wishes for her to do so. Lily and Jack were her biological children, so I didn't overstep or didn't interfere with her choices for Jack and Lily. So
Yeah. Was
and
it
to me, Lily's cough wasn't that bad. She could have went to school on Thursday, but Malaya had the overall choice on that. It wasn't my choice.
I see a few questions buzzing around. I asked Daniel months ago if the kids had access to Roblox, and he told me no, but I'll just get Daniel to remind everybody about the kids' tablets, if the RCMP took them, if they examined them, and where those tablets are now.
Malaya has those tablets. As far as I know, they didn't need the tablets due to the fact that the Apple Play, or the Samsung, like the Play Store, is connected to the tablets. That was directly connected to Malaya's account. So if they needed to look through her account, they would be able to, pick up everything from the devices, because everything's on her Play Store and her email. So when they checked her email and her Play Store, everything for the kids' devices would have showed up. So they didn't need a physical device. They could, digitally collect everything. And no, they
Right.
didn't play Roblox, and I do remember you asking me that question.
Now there's some speculation that I haven't even heard, and I'm going to ask you about it. Is there any truth to CPS coming to your house, or scheduled to come to your house on the Friday to check on the kids?
No. The only time
That's
they've
the
ever been
first
to the
you've heard.
house was for Lily and Jack's behavior, because the teachers and the staff members had a hard time with their behaviors, because they didn't know how to, they weren't diagnosed with autism. And I knew from the very first time I ever met them, they had autism, and, they were special needs. And, CPS was concerned about their behavior at school. And, the teachers had some difficulties with, trying to get them to learn, and,
So about that, like for me, and I don't know, I've only got very limited experience with CPS, and we did a live stream about CPS and stuff like this, but for them to come to you over behavior issues, it would have been, in my opinion, I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, it would have been to check on their home life to see if that was contributing to any kind of behavior they were exhibiting at school. So what?
well, that's the best way to reach for actual human to human contact, right? So they could get an idea of like who we were, and how we could better support the kids. So they gave Malaya a whole bunch of phone numbers, and just tried to instill how can I word this? Instill and give opportunities for the children to get support, because they had recommendations from the school to be tested for autism, and they were just about to be tested for autism. It was either going to be in May or June. I forget which. I told the story before, but they
Right.
never got tested.
I think I'd have to double check, but I think you told me they were supposed to be tested in late May. Here's one. Was Daniel meeting with Durwood secretly at the side of the road as that other channel has claimed? This was the day of or the day after, like May 2nd or May 3rd. Now people are saying that you and Durwood had a secret meeting on the side of the road. Is there any truth to that, Daniel?
There is no truth to that at all, and that rumor came from supposedly a witness in New Glasgow that's seen Darren and 3 other men out the road from where I live. And that was definitely not me. That was one of them. I was not friendly with Darren at that time, obviously, until I showed up at Jordan's one day. And, that's when I had a talk with Darren. That was like 2 or 3 weeks after the disappearance. And, that would have been shenanigans that said that. Yeah, she just throws out a whole bunch of wild shit against me, it seems like. She's extremely pro Malaya. Malaya can do no wrong. Cheryl's her bestie. They're going to get matching tattoos. They do all this stuff together. But yet she never ever speaks on anything they say. That's, you know, it's just mainly they just like to throw in everything they can against me. Malaya might have been drugged the night before. It's like shenanigans, like stop with the bullshit. And I'll say this too. She messaged me the other day out of the blue and she said, Daniel, we're more alike than you think. Like shenanigans, how is that even possible? Like you're just, throwing out these weird controversial things randomly against me, like these sly little remarks. And
Wait. That's embarrassing. She messaged you?
yeah, and
What did she say? Like, that's all she said was we're more alike than you
if I
think you're.
if I bring down this, this page right here, will I still be able to talk and I'll read the message to you guys?
I have no idea. But if not,
Oh,
you can just re-click the
all
link and
right.
I'll bring you back up. That's
Okay, I can still hear you
embarrassing.
guys. I'll read you guys the message.
That's crazy. Let's just see. I am trying my best, you guys, to look into chat a little bit, but um I am starring some stuff, so slowly keep them coming. Fuck, man, I was like 20 minutes behind in chat before you guys even, told me Daniel was here, so just waiting for Daniel. We can't hear you if you're talking, Daniel, so um I am starring some of these because they're terrific. I already know the answers to most of these, but um way to go, ignorant people. Thanks for being respectful. I don't know if Janie's still here, but Janie, if you wanted to come up too, you can. I know I was trying to plan to have you both up at the same time, but I wanted to be more prepared. But absolutely, let me know if you want to come up, Janie, and I'll.
You want me to just send you the message and you can read it out?
Sure, either way,
Okay.
you bet. Trying to see now that I have a minute. Shannon is not Shannon is not shenanigans, you guys. Totally different person. Okay, here it is. Oh, wow. Despite what you may think, not everything is as it appears. I know Anita is full of shit. I know your mom is being dragged through the mud. I know Darren has made everything worse. All I want is to find Lily and Jack, period. I am more open-minded than you think. I have seen enough to know that there is more going on than what I've been told. I am not stalking you. I have been out there to search for the children many times. I will continue to my last breath. We have more in common than you think. Well, that was nice. A little odd.
Yeah.
I would be embarrassed, but I mean, what
You
were
know,
your
at least
thoughts?
she tried to, you know, say some nice things, I guess we'll call it, or tried to come at an angle that was seemed appropriate for her. But in reality, she's already said too many bad things that are, you know, or
Did you
made sneaky
respond?
comments or sly comments. So
Did you respond to that?
no. And then I heard her Facebook. She went into Facebook jail. That's why her profile picture's not there.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I think
And
that was. I think she said that she made. I see. Actually, seen that on Monsters of Chaos where she got put in Facebook jail. So
okay.
I guess you can
And I
thank them
mean,
for keeping us up to date on shenanigans.
oh, shit. I mean, transparency. I was aware that she had messaged Daniel, and it wasn't it wasn't too long after he received that message that she had on her live stream that Daniel is the one that called Cindy at what was it,
828. That's what she
8:28.
claims. It wasn't me who made the call. I was sleeping.
Right? And like that's bizarre because
And why would I
since
call Cindy? I'm not a huge fan of Cindy. So like
and we've known that, so
yeah.
it doesn't even make sense. Like
And history
why
always repeated itself with Cindy. When, Malaya left Cody, Cody was at work one day. Cindy swooped in and, you know, got Malaya and Lily and Jack, and they left Cody, and she left all her belongings there as well. And literally Cindy did the same thing, swooped in, took Malaya and our daughter, and she left all her belongings behind except for her clothes. So it's like history repeated itself over, and Malaya just continues to make bad choices. Like we all know, she hasn't spoken out for her children. That's one of the worst choices that a mother could ever make. If you ask me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you stop and you think about everything that you've been kind of gone through and everything that Janie's been put through and the collateral damage of Jordan and Chance and anybody else that's been brought up, I always say that at this point, I can't say I blame her for not wanting to speak on YouTube, but I still say she could use her platform, her Facebook platform, to post missing persons posters, to talk to mainstream media. Parents of missing children generally
Yeah.
want to get the word
Well,
out as far and
speak
wide as
to
possible.
mainstream media, and not maybe not sit in the corner or sit in another room when your friends do interviews. That's not the most wisest action. And then for that to come out, that was bad luck.
Yeah, and also about that, just really quickly, the one interview with Cheryl and Angeline, on its face, I thought they did a good job, but then when you look into it and you think about it, when they were on the couch and they were pulling items out of the bag and talking about this was Lily's favorite blanket, what were your thoughts when you saw that interview?
I mean, the only way they would have known that was potentially even Lily's favorite blanket is what Malaya told them, right? So it's like it was pre-scripted at that point, right? Because they wouldn't have known that. So Malaya told them to say that, obviously, or maybe they just came up with it on their own, but they wouldn't have known that. So that was a
Right.
false claim on their, that was a false claim on their part. They would have never known that that was potentially Lily's favorite blanket, not unless Malaya told them. So they basically just made that up. Right?
Yeah. And do you remember that blanket? Was that Lily's favorite blanket?
To tell you the truth, me and Mom, we gathered up all Lily and Jack's like belongings, right? And I don't remember that blanket being in there when me and Mom gathered up all their belongings. So I don't know where that, and you can even see from the photo that, I head in the driveway with all, Lily and Jack's blankets and clothes and everything put in the bags, that blanket was clearly not visible in any of the bags. And they said that those blankets weren't washed. I do believe in that interview, because that's the first thing Angelina asked is, these are the blankets that you guys cleaned? And I believe they said no, we never got through all the belongings. And I don't remember them putting that. I don't remember me or Mom putting that blanket in the bag. So I don't know where they got that blanket from. I told investigators that, and they said that they weren't washed. I don't know that for 100%. I don't remember the interview very well. But if they weren't washed, then why were they put into an industrial size garbage bag? They could tell that the plastic was thicker on that bag than the original bag we bagged up the clothes with. So the clothes would have been transferred into that bag because it's a different bag. If you're going to transfer clothes into an industrial bag from the original bag it was in, you would think you'd wash them, not just take clothes and just move them into a different bag. It's little things like that, right? Like, that was clearly an industrial bag in that interview, a thicker, clear bag. And we didn't use thick, clear bags when we packed everything in there.
Right. And that's exactly what I thought. Hey, Justin, how's it going? Just so you know, I'm not putting a single one of those up. Just so you know. How is your finger doing, Daniel?
I mean, it's healing, and I go see a plastic surgeon again tomorrow, check up on it and everything.
Okay.
Sucks that I have to drive so far. It's almost 3 hours from the house to go see a plastic surgeon. But
Wow.
we make
That
do with
sucks.
what this province has, right?
Are you like have you been cleared to return to work yet, or?
No. I just have to go see the plastic surgeon tomorrow. I still can't straighten out my finger. Well, most of the lacerations are, starting to heal pretty well, but it's just all the tendons are cut at the end of my middle finger. So they're worried about, my finger building enough scar tissue up so the tendons can try to attach back to the bone. So the end of my finger isn't permanently stuck in a position where it's curled, and I have full function at the end of my finger, because right now it's there's not any feeling really in it at all, except for if I hit it off something. Then I did get some feeling at that point, but just to touch it, it's
Still tender.
yeah, there's really no feeling in the tip. And I I was urged to not move it by physio or the plastic surgeon due to the scar tissue could be rip on the inside, and my tendons not ever attached properly. But for
Gross.
the rest of my fingers, they healed fairly well.
Is it possible Cindy was at your home in the early morning hours, like between 5 and 5:30 a.m., and you just didn't know? Is that possible?
That could be possible, because I would have been sleeping, but like, it was already light when I seen Lily come into the room. Those 2 times I could see that it was, starting to become light outside. So there would have been no point of, Cindy being there that early. I mean, it is possible. It's also possible for her to be out in the yard and make that Facebook message to Malay saying I'm on my way, right? And she could already be in the yard because when you're in a crisis or a tragic situation like that, time blindness is a serious issue, right? Because you're so worried about the external world that your time perception is very flawed, and high stress situations like that. It's just like when you get into, I hate using this example. It's just like when you get in a car crash, right? The car crash only lasts a few seconds, but your brain goes into a mode where it tries to slow down the perception of time. And so the time you spend in those tragic situations is very skewed. Because during the search, like, my time perception or time blindness wasn't, full effect, and I wasn't aware of the times or how fast time was passing, or how many minutes did pass, or hours. I wasn't fully aware of that because, I was doing everything I could, searching everywhere I could and trying to cover as much ground as possible. So, and I wasn't here a lot at the house. I just came back for water and food, a few times a day. And yeah, it was, the perception of time is very skewed.
Mm. Yeah, I can only I can't imagine
And
how.
especially
I
when
know
you
for me.
see people just standing around Charmaine, and I hate to say this as well, but I've seen many searchers just, it was like they didn't have a care in the world, and there's like 2 missing children. And if you're going to be a search and rescue, volunteer, at least put like your time and focus and effort really into it. I mean, you're doing something that's, monumental for, families. And like, I've seen search and rescue, they walk 20 feet from the road into the woods and they would sit down. And, I asked them many times, like, what are you doing? I have a lag cramp. And they're 20 feet from the road. And then, that was really sad to see. And I think, like, maybe that should be me saying that if there is any search and rescue, like you guys are, you do something that's amazingly helpful, but it's just like there's some of it that some people that ruin it for the rest, right? And I know not everyone's, capable of, running through the woods, or, or jumping over trees, and, because there was many injuries that were reported, and these injuries should have never occurred, or people getting bit by ticks, and, people missing their wedding anniversaries, and, a lot of that stuff, because a lot of people had to take time off work. A lot of people took time away from their families, like 6 days away from their family, because they were just there the whole time, never stopped. And, there was a lot of people I seen in, the command center. It seemed like they didn't sleep and they never went home. There's an aspect of it where it's like they're like, hats off to them, because, a lot of people like worked really hard during that search. But there's like other people that just, their mind, and they never put their mind to it. And then that's not all of them. And then that's not even a majority, that's a minority. But
Yeah,
it was,
and I mean, I think it really speaks to how many people care, right? And how
yeah,
important this is to people, even early on. So, um, yeah. Belinda's got a question here.
yeah.
Daniel, if you didn't know the children were staying home when Lily poked her head in the room, why didn't you ask Malila what's going on? Malaya, what's going on? And like, I think last time you were on, I asked you, like, why, if Malaya wasn't getting up, then why didn't you
I
get
was
up?
unaware of the time, because in May, it does get lighter earlier, and I was unaware of the time. And I just continued my schedule like I always did, just lay in bed with Meadow and try to get Meadow as much sleep as possible when Malay got the kids up for school and got them off to school. Because Meadow was, just a little over a year at that point, right? I don't know if
Right.
that answers that question. Belinda's more than happy to, I'm more than happy to answer any of Belinda's questions she has.
Yeah, it's just I think it's something that weighs on all of us. Like, why didn't anybody get up with the kids?
I continued
Daniel?
like I usually do. I lay in bed with Meadow, and I didn't know the kids were staying home from school. I didn't look at my phone because before like the disappearance of Jack and Lily, I barely went on my phone and maybe went on it like 10 minutes a day. And, since then I spend more time on my phone now, even though I don't like to spend, time staring at screens, but I find myself doing more, right? And I try to answer people's questions when they send me messages, but I get a lot of messages sometimes, so like I can't answer everyone back. But especially if they have hateful messages, then I used to answer them back as well, because a lot of like the hate messages I get, it's like I know that it shows that they truly care, but maybe they don't keep up on the case, and you know and they don't you know not everyone can see the same angles or analyze the data or data, like some other people can. Some people have a better perception of who people are, and the questions I've answered and everything like that. But usually when people get hate messages, I used to answer them back, and I know their heart's in the right place, Charmaine. Like I truly know that, because they care, and they care to a point where they're willing to attack or send hatred my way. And they do care, because it just comes out as anger or frustration over trying to be civil and find the answers, right?
Yeah,
But the
and some
heart's in the
people
right
just,
place.
yeah, they feel so passionate and
Yeah.
frustrated because
Especially,
everybody just,
parents, right? Parents, when they have kids, they know what it's like to um, you know, have a bond with their children, and then, they're used to seeing them every day. And I think parents are much more impacted, because you know what it's like to have children, and be close to them and share that bond. And when the bond's broken, right? They know what it feels like.
yeah, and like the worst fear of any parent is
Yeah.
to lose a child, let alone two. So it
They have a
just,
deeper perception on, what it's like to, have kids, and what it's like to see a little kid grow, or kids grow. And there's a level of admiration, and um how can I word this, level of admiration, and that you're doing something to benefit mankind, and you have a sense on a deeper level than people that are not parents.
agreed. Just Ducky. So going back to that CCTV video, and the RCMP won't show it to you because you're a witness. A
Yeah.
witness to what? That doesn't, can you explain that, please?
I never dived into depth with them on that, but when I think with a investigation, even missing persons investigation, because it never made a pivot at this point, they would need a suspect or ready to lay charges to flip it over to criminal investigation. And so I'm considered a witness, because you can't really be identified as a suspect, or um, if there's no um, high belief of criminal involvement and they haven't pivoted yet. So I would still be considered a witness, same as Malay would be considered a witness. I never dived in depth and, got the full explanation from that, but that's what I took away from it. Most times I don't like to push investigators to the limit. I do more so now, because um, after a year, how can I word this as well? Trying to word it correctly for your audience. I like to see the behaviors and the sentence structure and the words used so I can better gain a better understanding, we'll call it. And I've learned more and more on that. I guess we can call it I analyze them for some channels that really love using that word. But that's what I try to do now. I push them more now to, ask them more in-depth things, but it's over the last few months, it's been less and less contact. But I still, when I give them the chance, I like to have face to face, and I haven't had much face to face in the last couple months. There's only been a couple times.
Right.
I think like 3-4 times maybe in the last 2 months.
Just scanning through chat. I remember you talking about this before. Daniel made her cut off contact with all of her friends except Angeline. Do you want to explain that to people again?
Well, Malaya was the one who blocked them on her phone, and she also blocked them on my phone as well. Malaya had a different mindset on the way, like she viewed the world in many aspects. I mean, she even got my phone, and she even blocked Cody's exes on on my phone because she was afraid that I would like cheat on these girls with, like, it was a weird thing the way she conducted herself, because Malaya's been cheated on so many times in the past. She thought I would do that, and I'm not that kind of person. So, but she would block Cody's exes because she thinks like some weird thing in her head that I would want to talk to them, and that wasn't the case. Like, I had a child with Malaya, and I'm not interested in cheating on any girl I'm in a relationship with. But Malaya did have, Cheryl and Haley and Shelby blocked on her phone, and she also blocked them on my phone, plus Cody's exes as well.
Daniel, why did Cindy tell Malaya not to call 911? Is that why you were so mad and told her to get? I don't remember ever hearing that. Is there any
No, I
truth to that?
don't know that either. When me and Malaya, see, these are the problem with rumors when they start, because they snowball without a clear explanation, and that's why I've always tried to be so open with you guys and try to answer every question and every rumor. Malaya did ask me, should I call 911 when we first went outside? But, that was Malaya talking to me. There was no Cindy in that situation.
Have you heard the rumor that Malaya is pregnant again? I haven't heard that, but
To me, that doesn't matter. I don't care if Malaya is pregnant or she's in a relationship with someone. I mean, I get messages with people saying, "Oh, I heard Malaya's in a relationship." Like, that's good. That's good for her. If that makes her happy, and she gets smiles from it, and she enjoys the love from another person, that's all on her. Let her live her life, and let her be happy. That it doesn't concern me at all.
thank you. Did you and Malaya have an open relationship? Did either of you have other partners? You know what an open relationship is,
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah. No, me and Malaya never had an open relationship. It was monogamous, and I never cheated on her. She never cheated on me. It was just me and Malaya, trying to raise a family, and, there was none of that. And I keep hearing Anita, I'm going to address this. I keep hearing Anita say something about like a Leo's list. I have no idea what that is. And the very first time I ever heard of it was out of Anita's mouth. And I have no idea what that is or what it consists of, but it's seems like Anita brings in a lot of weird, odd things like that.
Sure does. Okay, here's a good one. Daniel, you said about her leaving clothes, so you take 5 or 6 bags there. You didn't think it was weird there may have been like less, or did like explain that? Do you, like I
No,
never
I
even
didn't
thought
see
of
because there was like
asking
6
that.
bags of clothes. Like, I didn't look through the clothes to see if Malaya's were in there, right? And,
So,
like, I
but there
didn't
would have been much less laundry leaving if all of Malaya's clothes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
this,
but
this is
they were
actually a really good
rebagged. I don't know if
question.
the bags were the same size or right? So, I wasn't going to go look through them. "Oh, Malaya left all her clothes there at Patty's house." Like, when I took them out, there was still, you know, majority of the bags. Like, Malaya, when she got clothes, she would only keep them like, say if she got all new summer clothes, when fall came around, she would just throw out all her summer clothes. So,
I mean, I'm
coming on to springtime, she would get rid of all her winter clothes, right? She would buy all new clothes.
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know if some women do that, but that was like the thing she did.
I don't do like all of the clothes, but I relatable. Just saying.
Yeah, see, I'm not
I'm not.
as a guy, you're not thinking about, oh, there's all my winter clothes. I say I'm gonna keep all these, and a lot of guys just keep their clothes for like 10 years or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. Ian's got clothes that they wouldn't fit his left toe, and
Yeah, and
yeah,
I think that's the
refuses to
thing with
throw them
guys.
away.
They just, they're not interested in, their hobbies or things of interest aren't, formal wear or clothes in general.
Yeah. Um, did Malaya ever read to the kids?
Yeah, she would read like bedtime stories and everything to them, or but it was hard for them to settle down. Being undiagnosed autistic, so being special needs, they had a hard time, when they were smaller, when they were like, like Lily was like 3.5, and Jack would have been like 1.5, almost 2, and they would try to. Lily would definitely sit down and enjoy looking at the books and everything with Malaya, but as they got older, they were, you know, trying to grab the books or jumping around on their beds, and it was much more chaotic. So they didn't really care about the books at that point.
Right. This is actually a good question because I don't remember if I've ever talked to you or asked you about this. So Friday, I know you've said that you were out searching most of the day. You didn't have a lot of interaction with people on Friday. But do you remember if and when CPS showed up and at some point we heard that uh, the baby couldn't stay there? Is that true? And
Yeah, it wasn't
if
an applicable situation for that would have been on May 3rd. It wasn't an applicable situation with two missing children, and you know, no one knew what happened, right? And still to this point, like no one knew what happened, or no one knows what happened. Well, at least I don't, and mom, and I don't know about Malaya. I can't speak on Malaya, but yeah, it wasn't a situation that a baby should ever be, exposed to, with, drones and helicopters and hundreds of people and cops. And, you know, it wasn't a situation that, you know, any, any child over a year should be exposed to. And then plus two as well, they, CPS, because of my substance abuse disorder, like I'm fully open about that. They didn't want me around Meadow at that time because of, my substance abuse disorder. And, that's why I didn't get to see Meadow for that first little bit. And, CPS New Glasgow, I'm about to say this, they really fucked up. Sorry for my language, but they made a lot of mistakes, and they didn't do enough in-depth research, and it was really, you know, they should have, because when I first walked into CPS, I asked them, "Are you guys, able to handle this case?" It wasn't to do with arrogance or ego or narcissistic, you know, things of any of that nature. It was like, because this was a case where I knew it was bigger than, most people would recognize at the time, because the situation is so rare. Like, I asked CPS, and they said, "Oh yeah, we can handle it. We worked here for, 16 years or 19 years." And it's like, and then looking back, they screwed up. And, the CPS caseworkers, me and Malaya have now, are much more professional, much better at their jobs, and they know the ins and outs and all the policies and procedures, and there's no mistakes, and they do very well. They do very well. And then I know a lot of people as a whole don't, um, you know, like CPS or anyone that dealt with them in the past or the present. But they helped me a lot. They helped me grow and um, gave me all the you know all the stuff put in place so I could become a better person. They really helped me with that, with my therapist and psychiatrist, and that's how I got diagnosed with ADHD, properly. And they helped me out a lot, and I have nothing good to say. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about the caseworkers and the agency that I'm part of now. They've done a lot, and they helped my progression as a person a lot.
I mean,
So,
that's
and I know
good,
a
and
lot of
thank you
people
for
don't.
being.
A lot of people don't, see them as, um, they they see CPS as just trying to take away, but they they don't understand that how much it actually adds to your life. And in some aspects, you feel like you're losing, but as a person, if you use the opportunities they give you, you can really move forward with, you know, being the best person you can be. And I took advantage of that, and took advantage of every opportunity that they, put my way to become a better person. So I have nothing bad to say about the agency now. But in the past, when our first caseworkers, they were, um, they made a lot of mistakes, and they handled the case improperly. And but
If
after Malaya lost custody of our daughter, when we got new caseworkers, and it got moved to a different county, uh, I learned that I should listen to everybody and try to take this time to become a better person, and I did that.
I've said that with the speculation that Malaya is protecting the kids from CPS. If CPS is involved, the best way to protect your kids is to work with CPS. So
Yeah,
kudos to you for doing that. But I have a question because, okay, so the situation, the environment at the time was not suitable for the baby to remain there, and I understand that. If you're the one with all of the accusations against you with CPS, that supervision order was put on Malia right away as well. Like, she was able to leave, but it didn't take too long for her to have a supervision order placed on her. Do you know why it was placed on her so quickly? And then again, you weren't able to see the baby right away
yeah.
either. So what was their reasoning for putting an order on her? Like, I know about you say false accusations on you. I know about that, but why were you putting accusations in or reports in against her as well? Like, why was she under a supervision order?
She was put in under supervision order immediately, just due to the fact there's 2 missing children, and um, that's just to do with it was a very odd situation, and CPS recognized that, but they um, never took everything fully into account. But she was under a supervision order, as you just said, and yeah, it was just she needed to be monitored, like, fully, just due to the fact that she was in a relationship with someone who had substance abuse disorder, and I guess she allowed her children around someone with substance abuse disorder, and they seen that as a red flag, because I'm fully open with CPS and major crimes and the RCMP about like everything about my life and everything like that. But they would have also, I'm guessing they would have took a look at Malaya's criminal record, and they would have seen that on there, that it indicates that she lost Jack before, and the RCMP was called for that. I imagine CPS would have pulled that up, and major crimes, said that to me as well, that they do recognize that that's on there, and that could have been one of the points too that they took interest in.
I just want to clarify, and I might have missed it, but Justin took it as you were criticizing the volunteer searchers. Can you did you, I must have missed it if you did. Maybe you misspoke. Was there something that
Yeah, I
you
can touch on that. I wasn't like criticizing the searchers as a whole. I just seen some of the actions that were performed by them, and this is a small minority, a very small minority. I'm not saying that they're all like that, but it's just like I've seen a few that when you walk 20 feet from the road and you sit down and you said your legs cramped, you only walk 20 feet. That's you know anyone in a position where it's a tragic situation, you should be, you signed up to be a volunteer and walk through the woods and do the best you can for families. And to see those actions, of course I'm going to point them out, right? I think you know, you should hold those people accountable for their actions, right? Everybody should be held accountable for their actions if they did do the actions. And I observed that with my own eyes, right? And this is a small minority, and it's not in generalizing in any way. This is a small minority. It could have only been 1%, right? And so don't take it as criticizing them for the 1%, because there's always individuals. When you get 157 searchers, you're always going to get that small minority who doesn't, put in the effort which they signed up to, do. Because when they sign on the dotted line, when they did an application for, ground search and rescue, you should put your whole heart and soul into that for the families. And what the actions I've seen by these individuals, the heart wasn't in there. Like, your
I
heart's
can
in it for the
understand.
children and the families.
I can understand that, but another way to see it is some people just they want to help and they desperately want to help, but they don't realize what's all involved. So once they get started, they realize maybe their physical health or their mental health or something is not going to allow them to continue. So I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know their individual
Yes,
situation, maybe why they weren't given
that's
their
highly
help.
correct, and that's why it's maybe only that 1% or 0.5% of people, right? And I know everybody's not capable of things that they want to do. Like, there's some people that they want to be professional swimmers and they can only swim half as far, but that doesn't mean you don't put your whole heart and soul into it without receiving injuries, of course, but there's two missing children, and uh, this isn't a criticization against the total of ground search and rescue or the volunteers or you know anyone of that sort. It's just you're going to have people like that in any group or any organization or anything that falls under an umbrella of a mass of people doing something, right?
Right. Sorry. Do you Monsters of Chaos has asked this a couple of times.
Yeah.
Were you sleeping when Malaya reported the kids absent?
Yeah, I didn't know the kids were reported absent at 6:17 and 6:18. I was sleeping. So Malaya was clearly up at 6:17, 6:18, and 8:28 to make that call. And I was unaware she was keeping the kids home from school, and I wasn't awake at 6:17 or 6:18 or 8:28 for that matter.
And just to reiterate again, was the baby sleeping on Malaya's arm when you first woke up on Friday morning?
See, that's something in my head that I keep bouncing back and forth from. Originally, when I first woke up, I'm pretty sure that the baby was on Malaya's arm, but then it was on my arm afterwards, right? Because she would lay right in the middle and co-sleep with us. I don't know what time she came into the bed. I'm guessing when she marked the kids absent for school at 6:17 and 6:18, she took our daughter from the crib and put her into bed to co-sleep with us. Because for a large majority, like when she was younger, she co-slept with us.
Thank you. Was the ground wet and muddy when the kids disappeared?
In the woods, it was. I know this is probably referring to they're trying to get at the boot print that was beside the house, and there was a single boot print that was beside the house. There was an indentation into the soft soil or mud or rocks or dirt or whatever you want to call it beside the house. Mom wasn't raking to try to hide boot prints or footprints like I always see like online. Like that's what mom tells me, right? Or I see it online if you know, or mom shows me. And mom wasn't raking to hide any boot prints or cover anything up. She was just taking the big rocks out of the dirt that's down by the house because it was excavated the year before or 2 years before. So there's a lot of big rocks, and she always clears them out with the rake and then rakes it flat because that's where she was going to put a pool. And the pool never got up, still sitting down in the shed, but it was wet in some areas because there's some areas beside the house that are much more wet. We have a couple springs on the property and everything like that. So, and we have the marsh beside the house. So some areas are wetter than others, and some areas are more muddy. I know up on the pipeline, there was a lot of areas where it was mud.
Did you not find it odd that they only found one boot print though?
Yeah, I
Because the
found that
kids
very
live
odd
there.
because there's no adult footprints there. There's no like from both children. It's just one single imprint that's, you know, um, put into the softer dirt beside the trailer in front of the RV. There's only one boot print. And I found that odd because it was like an inch deep. And so it was like a perfect print. And, they had teams look at it and take pictures, but I think they should have preserved that print better because it got so many searchers and so many people that walked through. It got stomped down, and like I think they should have been able to use that print and model it with forensics a lot better. And I don't know if they did that. They could have, took full advantage of that print and did everything. I just wasn't there to see all of it, right?
Right.
But I do find it
They
odd that
live
there's
there, they
only one
play
print.
there.
And there's been
Yeah.
speculation, from what I heard some people say, that Malaya shirt was stretched, like you see in the interview, and that could have been from her carrying the kids on her hip. And one of the kids slid off, started to slide down her hip, and they touched their foot against the ground, and then she would pick them back up and like resettle them in her arms. I don't know. That's just another theory, but I think every theory is valid. It's just that I'm not going to throw theories or speculation out no longer, just due to the fact it's been a year and we've been both fully investigated, and I don't know what Major Crimes knows or what avenues they're taking, but the times of throwing out theories and speculation are no longer for me.
Yeah. So with Jack still being in pull-ups and the baby being in diapers, did Malaya not change either one of them at all that morning? And what about with the baby? Did the baby get fed that morning? Do you know?
I have no idea. Um, I don't know if Malaya changed Jack that morning. He was able to go and pee and stuff on his own. Like he wasn't just restrained to a pull up, I guess we'll call it. He was able to pee in the potty and everything, because I potty trained Lily and Jack. It's just at night, right? He would have accidents, just you know due to him being a younger child, right? And
That happens.
I was
Perfectly
asleep for a
normal.
lot of the morning, right? So, like, I don't know if Malaya got, Meadow up to get something to eat that morning. That would be a question for Malaya to personally answer, because I lay in bed with Meadow every morning, and Meadow went from the crib to the bed, and I was unaware of that. So I don't know if that would be something for Malaya to really answer. I I don't have an answer for you on that.
Thank you for trying, though.
But she was up at 6:17 and 8:28, so she could have, right, and I was sleeping, and
Yeah.
I don't have an answer on that. If I had a definitive answer, I would answer it like I do everything else. But unfortunately, I don't have an answer, and I'm not afraid to admit to that I don't have an answer to a question. And I
That's
always
all good.
try to recall everything to my best recollection as possible. So, but I don't unfortunately have an answer for that. That would be something that Malaya would have to answer.
It's all good. Do you remember saying that you'd visit Malaya in jail? Do you remember saying that?
Yeah,
Why did you say that? And
I
do you?
remember saying that because all the circumstantial evidence, I believed at the time, and I was pretty hurt that Malaya like left me, so maybe I was a little bit vengeful at that time, but I've moved past that, and that's another mistake I made by saying that. And we learn from our mistakes and we push forward, because that's what we do as people, right? You admit that you made a mistake, you take accountability for it. And I said that, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but at the time, right, you're not thinking, right? I'm not afraid to admit that either.
Yeah, a lot of people, we all say shit that maybe we shouldn't say. It
Yeah.
happens to most of us. Daniel, you and Malaya woke up at 9:40, searched the trailer and outside, called 911 at 10:01. What time did you hear Jack or see Lily twice? I think you've answered this a few times,
Yeah, I
but
did answer
please.
that. It was me who searched the trailer and outside while Malaya stood there and called 911. Right? The guy searched the trailer, went down to the kids' room, searched the kids' room again, and went out to the living room, searched there, and we proceeded outside. I looked around. The kids aren't in the backyard. So then that's when I ran up to the camps that they have in the woods. You searched there when Malaya was on the call with dispatch at 10:01. Like I didn't even know like the exact time Malaya even made the call until, you know, um, like what time it exactly was until I was told, right? Because I didn't have my phone in my pocket, and I didn't take the phone with me when I, jumped in her car and, did that search of Lansdowne Road and Lansdowne Station and then out McLeod Road and then back down Gairloch. And also went up back there as well, and that's where I met mom, was, up behind the house. And that's when I asked her, "Are you jumping in with me?" And she said, "No, I'm gonna search all these areas." They couldn't have got far. And, by that time when I was just getting back to the house, that's when RCMP showed up, and I didn't wanna block them in the driveway. I know a lot of people already heard the story, so, like, I'm gonna keep it brief, but I like to tell it again for the new viewers that maybe, you know, didn't, hear the story last time or don't have a chance to listen because everyone's busy, right? Everyone has their own lives and everybody's trying to keep up on the case. So I'll retell that. And I pulled in by the marsh beside the house and RCMP were in the yard. And then that's when they told me not to go back into the woods at that time. And they were just getting down to the yard talking to Malaya. But I didn't know the time was exactly, 10:01. I wasn't worried about the time at that point. I was worried about, finding Jack and Lily.
Um, I don't really understand this one completely. I have a question about searching possible car accident investigation first days. May I ask a question? I mean, was that a question, Magdalena, or
Maybe they thought like um, there was a possible car accident and the kids were inside. Maybe I'm not sure on that.
this is a good one for Daniel and Janie to both be able to answer because Janie says that Malaya told her Jack and Lily were missing, and then you said that you told your mom.
No,
Which one is
no,
it?
I was yelling, and she could hear me yell Jack and Lily or Lily and Jack when I was screaming it, and she thought I was just yelling at the kids to come inside the house or if they're out in the yard. But it was actually mom that came out of the RV and she seen Malaya standing there and she's like, "What's up, Malaya?" Because she could hear me screaming.
So you didn't tell your
No,
mom. Yeah.
no,
Okay.
that was actually mom that came out and Malaya was standing there and she asked, "What's up, Malaya?" Because she could hear me screaming in the background.
All right. So this is a good one from Sam Vanna. It's normal to feel anger when falsely accused, Daniel, but you seem to have an abnormal reaction in that you accept people saying the worst about you. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I don't know what they mean by abnormal reaction. Hard to know
Seems
what it's hard to know
it
what a
doesn't.
normal reaction would be from me, right? Because or anyone in general, because the situation that I'm put in, very few people will ever be in this situation, and I'm handling it the best I can. And you know, I feel frustrated because there's no answers, but at the same time, people can say whatever they want. I'm desensitized to judgment at this point. People, take pictures of me everywhere I go and videos and it's become a normal thing. And at first I was, you know, um, we'll say confrontational about it, but as time goes on, I just learn that, this is a normal aspect of my life and I don't have any role models to, help me through the situation. I mean, therapists can only do so much and psychiatrists and everything of, that nature. But in general, it's like I, you know, have to learn everything on my own because there's no one to guide me through situations like that because it's such a ultra rare situation where there's two missing, two missing children, and I handled that case with major crimes, and then CPS, you know, and not seeing my children, and then now with the charges against me, right? It's a very unique situation to all, go through in a year, not to mention, car crashes and, everything else, right? It's a lot. And then especially on top of that, having, I know a lot of people don't like me talking about this, but having ADHD as well, that adds a whole nother layer now that I know I have it. And, trying to manage that the best I can, because when going from not having it, and, think you having something, because I always knew I was um, a little bit, different with the way, you know, I think, and, how I live my life. It was much different going from not being diagnosed to being diagnosed and having medication for it. It's it's a much different world after you get medication. I know there's some people in here that have ADHD, so maybe they can, you know, attest to that. But it's a whole different world afterwards, and just trying to manage that and managing, probably having head trauma from rolling a vehicle, and then missing persons case and CPS, and then um, the
It's
charges.
very
That's a
stressful.
lot on the mind, and so I've learned to adapt to the best, learn to adapt to it the best I can, and try to manage everything. And it's been a struggle, but at the same time, I have people that that are with me every step of the way, and I couldn't be more grateful for them for sticking around when you know days got hard, and it's a lot, but I'm thankful for everybody who's stuck by my side through the harshest of times. And
Yeah, it's
that's another
always
thing too.
stressful.
It's with you know people criticize Jordan, and Jordan's been with me every step of the way, right? Like, he doesn't bat an eye when things get tough. He helps. So I'm grateful for him as well, and I'll give a shout out to him for that. Same as Chance as well. They they're really good people, and they don't deserve to be dragged through the mud like people are doing. And people don't know them for who they are. I've known them, both of them, for over 20 years, since I was like really young, like probably like
14.
grade 9 or something like that, or grade 10. And they've been you know a part of my life that I'm pretty thankful for.
Yeah.
All they ever see is,
So
oh, sorry for cutting you off. All they ever see is, like, Jordan, shooting off to people online. And that's because, like, he gets criticized for no reason. And it's hard to battle the amount of people on the internet that are trying to put you down for just being my friend or being Darren's son. And,
I
you
think
know,
that was the point, Daniel, that, people like Jordan and even Chance, they're being accused and they're lashing out and they're angry. And that seems to some people to be a normal reaction. And we haven't seen that from you. And they, you know, maybe think that you should be more angry if you're completely innocent, then why doesn't this stuff piss you off more? I think that was kind of the gist of the
yeah,
question.
it's like I don't see a point in it, Charmaine. I'm intelligent enough to know that that's not the route that I want to take, and that's not me. I'm not some super aggressive person that looks to lash out. And I did lash out at the start, but I I do it in a way where it's not, um, I'm not swearing at people. I'm not doing Facebook recordings, and that's not my style, we'll call it. And that's because most of the people that would shoot off to Jordan online, they wouldn't do that in person, believe me. And there wouldn't be
Yeah,
many people that do that. Let's just say that.
agreed. So back in the beginning of this, when you first came up, you mentioned that you thought you kn- you knew. I can't remember if you said you knew or you thought the kids were special needs when you first met them. Can
Yeah.
you, like, what made you think that? Like, what about
Um,
their?
um, when I very first, you know, I think I mentioned this before, but I can dive into it again. Very first, date I ever took Malay on, um, like she invited me into her grandmother's house, and Cindy was ready, and Wade were ready there to interrogate me, and but yeah, Lily was crawling around on the floor, and I knew right away that you know Lily was a special girl, and you know she she didn't play like the other kids, and she didn't um she did different mannerisms, and her behavior was a little bit different. The very first day I never met Jack, he was up taking a nap in his room. Uh, but yeah, I met Lily on the very first day, and when you're new to an environment and people, right, you observe them. Like most people do it subconsciously, but I always try to take um, every situation, and I think that's a part of ADHD. You're hyper vigilant on every individual around you and the environment. And I have I will say a knack for that type of stuff. So I could tell right away. And then that never scared me off. I don't want people to, think that I was, opening and willing to, you know, find out who Jack and Lily really were, same as Malaya. I was very interested at that time.
Okay, thank you. Backing up just a little bit, I do know what Justin is asking here, because you had mentioned that because of the supervision and you had supervised visits and there was the substance abuse thing that you were I guess you were in recovery. I can't remember exactly what you said, but you mentioned substance abuse as being one of the reasons why supervised visits
Yeah.
at the very beginning. And Justin is asking, but you said you weren't using at the time. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, and I wasn't using at the time. No, not during the search. Haley didn't catch me in the bathroom doing drugs. That's another bullshit lie. And then you know, Cindy supposedly confronted me about it, and no, none of that ever happened. But no, I wasn't
Okay.
using drugs at that time. I wasn't high at that time.
Somebody earlier asked if you trusted Malaya then, and if you still trust Malaya now. Obviously on a different level, but do you still have trust for Malaya?
I trusted Malay at the time, like all the way through our relationship. She was very trustworthy, and you know, and Malaya is a good person, right? I'm not going to sit here and bash Malaya for her choices, because when you make a choice, Charmaine, the reason why you make a choice is because you always believe it's the right choice. No one's gonna make the wrong choice if they know it's the wrong choice, right? Like, but Malaya was, trustworthy. Like, I didn't know she was planning to leave me. I had no idea, right? But that's what happened, and I'm over it, and I move on with my life, and she moves on with her life. And for as trustworthy now, absolutely not. There's zero trust in anything that she says, or any any way she conducts herself, or any actions that she takes. It's just simply, easy way to put it, the trust is eroded to a point where it's non-existent.
Yeah. Um, is there any part of you that still feels protective over Malaya's reputation, over, do you feel like you have any kind of responsibility to Malaya in any way, shape, or form?
No, don't have any responsibility to Malay at all, other than her um, being the mother of our child. I mean, other than that, there's there's no responsibility. I don't protect her in any way. You know, I I don't see a point at like it's it's a question that I, don't truly have an answer for, but there's no responsibility after, everything that she said and, the actions that she done moving forward. Um, there's there's nothing there. It's looking out into a you know a wasteland. There's nothing. It's an abyss, and
I get it. I
yeah,
wanted to ask because there's this whole, like, there are a lot of people that think that, the three of you, you and Janie and Malaya know what happened and you're all kind of protecting each other. And I couldn't understand that because of everything that's happened. At what point do you stop protecting the person that's accusing you and now you're up on charges and all this stuff? Like, at what point would that stop? So I wanted to ask, and there are so many people who want to know, Daniel, what you believe happened. They want to know if you still believe the children are alive, and if you're willing to give a little bit of speculation of what you think could have happened.
I'm guessing it sounds like they want the theory that I have, and if you want, I will, you know,
What makes the most sense to you in your head? Like, I understand that you don't want to throw out accusations, but you have to think about it day in and day out. I would think. What do you believe? If you believe the kids are still alive, what do you believe? What makes the most sense to you in
I will
your
tell
head?
you exactly what I told investigators last time I talked to them. And I said, it's been over a year. Me and Malaya, um, we've been fully investigated. And I said after a year, like this is what I had to come to the absolute realization of. And like at this point, like if Malaya's not involved, I don't know what Major Crimes knows, right? So I can't speak on their behalf or what they know. But I believe it is criminal 100% at this point. And I believe that it was either, um, I believe it was professionals at this point or somebody with the knowledge to commit a crime that's that's done this stuff before, and they got away with it for now. But eventually they will get caught, and I hope they do. But where I come from this standpoint is there must have been some person or some organization of some kind of um, human traffickers that knew me and Malaya's routine. They stalked us. They knew everything we do, and the kids were home from school. They you know somehow knew that, and then um, they took the kids, and then they must have had an individual or a group of individuals plant the blanket up there at the perfect time. Because Charmaine, you know how much balls it would take in a missing person's, you know, with two missing children missing, and then plant a blanket up the road. The person must have had some serious balls to undertake that when there's helicopters in the air, drones, and hundreds of searchers and law enforcement and my family driving around and neighbors that help search. That must have been that was a really ballsy move to plant the blanket and get it from the property and plant it up there at the perfect time and then you can get away with it. It leaves, you know, this crazy conspiracy type ordeal, but like at this point, I believe, if Malay and her family aren't behind it, then that's the only other logical, theory to come up with, or something that I can run by. Yeah.
There was a question earlier, and I forgot to highlight it, but do you know if Malaya knew Eli Wojcik?
As far as I know, no. I know the name comes up quite a bit. I don't know who he is, and major crimes know that I don't know who he is, because from all the digital data they would have been able to collect off her phones. They would have seen some kind of type of connection, and I know from my phone there's no connection there because I don't know the guy. And from as far as I know, I don't know if Malaya knew him either. I don't know how she would have. I was with her for 3 years. I never heard the name before Darren brought it up. Darren was the first one to ever bring that up to me. He called me one night when I was laying in bed, and I picked up the phone. I said, "Hey, Darren." He said, "Hey, Daniel, did you know a guy named Eli?" And I said, "No, I don't know anyone with that name." And he's like, "You owe him $28,000, don't you?" I'm like, "No, Darren. Like, you know how crazy that sounds? That I owe someone $28,000 for drugs? Like, do you know how crazy that sounds? You know how many years of drug use that would have to be without paying back a single cent or accepting $28,000 in drugs?" Like, first of all, I never bought that much money in drugs ever. And for a lot of people out there in the world, that's a whole year salary, right? So I don't know the guy, never plan on knowing the guy. Um, from what the messages I get, people say he's a bad guy, but I have no idea, right? I don't know him. But the very first time I ever heard the name was from Darren. And Darren seems to think that I owed him $28,000 in drug money, or I gave him the kids, and that's just ludicrous. That's just a crazy thing to think. And, Darren still continues to push a narrative that, oh, if you want to know where the kids are, just ask Daniel. Like, Darren, I don't know. And I continue to work with major crimes trying to figure that out. But it's like I don't feel needed as much from major crimes. So I'm guessing they could be exploring another avenue, or doing whatever they do, right? I have no idea, like the stuff in behind the scenes. But that name was first brought to me by Darren randomly one night on a phone call.
Okay. Do you know who exactly found that boot on the pipeline in the
I
initial
believe it was
search?
found during the middle of the night. That's as There was like a lot of talk of one of the neighbors found it, and then there was a lot of talk that um, that searchers found it during the middle of the night. But like that that blueprint was fully exhausted, because when I went up to, had my briefing with commander of operations and the team up there, they told me that they exhausted that area. They put like so much effort into that one area, and it obviously turned up nothing. But that's the closest blueprint that they have to a potential match. It's not 100% match. So that is not ever ruled out definitively that it was Jack or Lily's blueprint.
Okay. What time does Malaya usually get the kids ready for school?
Malay would usually get the kids up around 6:30 or a little bit after, because they had to be on the bus for 7:30 in the morning. So they start their mornings, getting on the bus at 7:30. So at that time too, the sun's starting to come up, or there's light outside. So it was hard for me to distinguish if the kids were going to school or not, because it would have been light either way. But it's usually 6:30 or a little bit later that family, I would get up with the kids and, get them off to school, get them fed and get them dressed and get them off to school. She usually made the lunches the night before, sometimes in the morning before the kids went off to school, but usually at night.
Okay, thank you. And did all of the kids have life insurance policies or just Jack and Lily, Daniel?
As far as I'm aware, none of the kids have life insurance policies.
Thank you for that. And
Because what do
um,
people think that we're trying to collect money off of them?
that is a
That's
going
that's
theory.
that's another absolute ludicrous theory, and um, it's just the imagination of people runs wild. But I never put down a question because no question's stupid, right? Because everyone's trying to find answers, just like I am, and just like mom is, and just like Major Crimes is. I can't speak for Malaya or any of her family. Hopefully they're trying to seek answers, but they're not trying to do it through the public eye, which I really wish, her family would, step up, because either way you're going to get attacked. And if you're going to get attacked, you might as well do it raising awareness instead of hiding. And that's why I've took the approach of being so open and being so honest with the public, is just due to the fact that I have nothing to hide. And that's why I speak so openly. And at this point, I said on Sunny's show, like, I probably have the most interviews and the most time ever talked by um, anyone in a missing persons case. And I'm going to continue to talk and continue to, try to help the public as much as possible to find answers, because right now, like, or in general, I know me and mom don't have any answers to push this case forward. So I always urge the public to, have come up with any perspectives or any angles or any theories or anything of that nature that can push the case forward, and we can try to find Lily and Jack. That's always been, the best thing that can happen from this case is Lily and Jack are found safely, and 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 there's a lot of people out there that don't think they're alive, but I'll always firmly believe that they're alive, because I'll never lose hope. And that's a negative way of thinking, and I don't think anyone should ever think like that. Should always think positive. And that's the way I've got, through the last year, is just thinking positive and hoping for the best outcome. That's what you should always hope for.
I mean, it's good to have hope. I agree, but when you're in this realm of true crime, you can't help but be, you know, I guess
But
biased.
Charmaine, the thing is, if you apply negative thinking to one aspect of your life, you never want that to bleed over into the rest of your life. So it's always just best to always think positive. And I know it's hard for some people all the time, because their lives aren't positive. But that's the best way to live your life, is just always think positive. Even in the darkest times, you should always think positive. And then that's what I've done the whole way through. And the last year for me hasn't been pretty, but um, yeah, I always try to think positive. My life hasn't been pretty, for the last year. Definitely not as pretty as Anita, right? So, um,
Yeah, hey. I want to say just really quickly, I'm not going to go too much longer. I will have Daniel back though, but just I understand the chat is going crazy and I get it, and people have been timed out and they're pissed off, but it is what it is. I don't care. But what I will say is I'm going to go back, and the moderators who aren't acting respectfully, be prepared to lose your wrench. Uh, Chelsea, she would like to speak to Chance herself, Daniel. If you could put in a word for her, I'm just looking for information. if you wouldn't mind doing that. I know that I had the same comment to Daniel a while ago, and I had asked him to put in a word with Chance and no dice, which I'm thankful for at this point. But just heads up, Chelsea. But I'm sure. Do you mind doing that, Daniel?
I mean, I can, but I doubt Chance will talk. Chance has nothing to do with any of this. I went and picked up Chance and Adam on May 3rd, and they helped me search. And that's the extent of what they did. During the duration of the search is they helped me for the day. I brought them home, and that was
That was actually a conversation that I had with some people. Why did you feel it necessary to bring in Chance and Adam on that day to help you search? Can you talk about that? Like, where was your what made you think of reaching out to them, or did they reach out to you? Like, tell me about that, please.
they reached out to me, and Chance and Adam both knew the kids, right? They both met them before, and Adam met them, quite a few more times than Chance did. But I've always been close with both of them, and I knew Chance and Adam very well, and I still talk to them, and I felt like that was another option that we had, was just to have more boots on the ground searching, right? It's a fairly hard terrain to go through and for everyone to search, but I believe the more people you had searching, the better it would be. And that was always under that belief. And Adam, he met Jack and Lily many times, and so both of them were more than willing, and jumped in the car and helped me search pretty far up. It was quite a distance from the house. It was at least 5 kilometers, if not more. And there was helicopters up in that area, and drones, and we came across quite a few searchers that were up in that area, and a lot of people were up in that area before we even started searching. So that's why when people say, "Oh, you searched up on the pipeline, hiding evidence with two other people," referring to them, like that. No, there was already helicopters up there, and already a lot of searchers at that point, because they wanted me to try to remain out of the woods, because I searched so many areas that they didn't want to risk throwing off the dogs, right? Because they would smell my scent, because it wasn't natural to the environment, because that's the way a search dog works. And I can explain that for your viewers if you want to know a little bit more in depth on how search dogs work.
I think you did the last time, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, the way a search dog works is the natural environment has a scent to it that's untouched, right? It's nature. And when an artificial smell comes into an area, the search dogs are able to pick that up because it's not natural to the environment, and they can hone in on that, because the smell and the scent molecules will either linger on the ground or linger in the air. I believe that's based on moisture content, because moisture holds scent molecules. So, yeah, that's the way search dog work. They look for smells that aren't natural to the environment, and nobody can say otherwise other than that, because that was told to me by commander of operations. And then he went on to tell me and Mom, the day that they, packed up and they were done searching for the initial searches, the dogs are very good, but the best animal for searching, if they could ever train one, would be a bear. Bear have the best scent detection out of any animal that's natural to the environment in Nova Scotia. But they unfortunately said they can't train bears to do it, but that would be the best thing to search with. So dogs are the next best thing.
Okay, thank you for that. I just have a couple more and then I'm gonna call it for the day. But like I said, I do want to have you and Janie back on when I'm a little better prepared. Um, do you know if Cindy did reach out to Anita to watch the baby? And was it because Cindy has a CPS record? Like, is that why it was necessary? But I was, let me just say, I was under the understanding that it was just for when Cindy went to work. But were you aware of that requirement, or did
No,
you?
and CPS never knew about any of that, because I brought that up, and there's no mention of it in anything, and they never heard of Anita ever.
Really? That's interesting.
Yes, so there would have been a policy break on that as well. That was another broken policy or guideline that she should have followed, and that broke it. And another thing, Cindy and Malaya should have never let Anita ever watch any child, because I mean, just the way she is as a person is unacceptable. And first of all, she wasn't even in her own kids' lives. She never had custody of them when they were small because she was neglectful to them. But one of her kids, did turn out to be, pretty famous. We'll say that. One of her children is famous. I'm not going to say the name on here because that's not the right thing to do. But the information I've received is,
Well, I mean, you can tell me offline, and I can definitely dig in and see if it's corroborated. That's
and the
very
person that told me that is
interesting.
in your chat. So
Beautiful.
I'm not going to say
I
any
will.
names, because I don't like
That's
throwing
that's
people's
fine.
names out there. But yeah,
That's fine. And I will definitely follow that up with you. This is a really good point. If you weren't on drugs when the kids went missing, how can you explain the big difference in your appearance? You remember that rainy day, very early on interview. You looked like death. You
yeah.
looked so bad. Can you explain, like, were you in recovery then? Can you just talk about, I guess,
I
like
don't know what day that
it's
would have been. That would have been like, um, yeah, maybe like a few days in, and I found it pretty hard to eat because of the stress levels, right? And doing so much, so much running through the woods, I wasn't probably taking in as many calories as I needed to take in, and yeah, and I look so much different when I have a hat on. But yeah, that was a very stressful situation for like definitely the first few days was a real hit. But, but the first sign of stress was when, me and Malaya woke up that morning and realized that the kids weren't there. And then that's when you have this massive strike of adrenaline. Like, you know, most people will never feel how that feels. And it absolutely wreaks havoc on your body when you're put into a state like that. The only other state that, you know, people really, you know, probably feel like that is, I'm guessing, if you were in an engagement in the military, I guess, like say if you're like that, your stress levels are probably through the roof, and it takes a massive toll on your body. It really does. And I've got to a point now where, I feel much more healthy and much much better with the mind as all those different levels of depressive states pass, and they because you'll take them in waves, right? It's hard to comprehend for most people because they never will understand that. But you'll have days where you don't feel like yourself, right? And they'll go away for a few weeks or a month, and then you'll have one random day where just you feel down and the whole world's against you, but you push through. And that's how I've managed to stay so strong, is just have good people that they have surrounding you, and you can talk to. And I have those people, so not very many, but you know you keep your circle small and you keep it strong, and that's how you get through. You always think positive.
Right. Leanne, I assume this is uh, some kind of an extension of shenanigans telling people that I offered Daniel a job. Just to clear it up, I don't have a job to offer you, Daniel, but are you planning on working in Alberta?
No, not that I plan of. I don't plan of, um, you know, ever moving outside Nova Scotia. It's a beautiful place here, and there's beautiful people, and
Thank you. And
yeah.
so this one, Daniel, just like to say, well done for being sober and dealing with your issues. I know it's hard, as I've been sober for 23 months now. I know it's hard, so well done and keep it real. And also, do you have like how long have you been clean and sober? Do you
It's
have like
been
a sober date?
no, um, but it's been way over a year now. Obviously, I was sober before the kids went missing. I didn't have any drugs, and I plan on keeping that sobriety as for the rest of my life. I don't like even drink alcohol, right? I mean, that's not just because CPS doesn't allow it. I just haven't, drank alcohol in almost 3 years now. And, most people will fall into that trap where they just change one, you know, change one drug for another. And I don't want to fall victim to that mindset or fall victim to, that. So, but I mean, I still smoke nicotine, obviously, but, that helps me a lot too. And I think that's, you know, a de-stressor in itself is just, but yeah, I don't want to fall back into that mindset where you need something to, help you get through reality. And I don't want to fall victim to that. And, like when I used to go to NA a lot, um, you really get to see like how, people, struggle in everyday life. And, I never really struggled like that. It was always just trying to fix a problem that I had neurologically, and my ADHD medication fulfill that wish. And I always knew from before that I was neurodivergent, um, and now I have that corrected, and I'm on a great path.
Excellent. And I feel like I'm going to invite Daniel back, but Carly is going to eat me alive. Like I have to go and feed
Oh,
him. I have to go to the bathroom.
I thought we were gonna, do longer than Sunny's podcast.
Wrong to. Well, if we're going to do that, then I need to be more prepared. So I will give her a run for her money, absolutely, but it's just not going to be today. So thank you so much, Daniel, for being here, um, and for offering to come up. And like I said, I do have questions, and I see in the chat they've just been going fucking berserk, honestly, and I'm a little bit disgusted, not gonna lie, but I'm gonna go
No,
through it
you'll
all.
always get those people that just, they they get, as I said, I use this word a lot, they get trapped in that mindset and their beliefs are, stuck. And no matter how much try to provide evidence to, point them in the right direction, or, they just, their belief systems are set in stone, and they'll never they'll never change that. And unfortunately, that's just the way the human mind works. People latch onto a rumor, or, you know, a belief, and they can't ever switch it. There's like this part in the human mind where it's stuck, and they'll always believe that, and that's just the way they are. But I encourage everyone just to, look over everything on the case and try to build your own belief system. Don't trust what other people tell you, or rumors, or conspiracy theories, or just try to, figure out everything for yourself, and try to, point yourself in the right direction. Don't let anyone else ever point you in the right direction, what they believe is the right direction. Always make your own choices. Never let anybody steer you to making choices that you don't want to make. And
Yeah,
I
for
hope
sure. And I feel
hope
like
some people take that away.
I mean, for the most part, chat was good. It was good, but the because I welcome all opinions here, but like some of it was just a little bit
Well, you
beyond
might get
anything.
people from other channels that are, really haters, right? And, maybe they believe all I need is lies, and they gotta, they see it as their duty to spread the lies and spread the hatred. There's just some people that, they're just not happy with their own lives, and they just try to bring everyone else down, and never fall victim to those people.
Right. And I mean, maybe next time I'll just make sure everybody knows that you're not going to be sitting there reading chat, and I definitely won't pull up anything that's ignorant. So it's kind of a waste of your energy. If it makes you feel better to type that way in chat, then do you. But with that, I'm going to say thank you to everybody for being here, and thank you so much, Daniel. And I will talk to you again. And Janie, thank you for entering into chat. So. The questions that I missed, I will ask Daniel. He said that he's open to any questions, and
Yeah.
I will ask them. So we'll see you all next time, okay?
No matter how hard the questions are, I'll always try to have an answer if I have one. If I can't recall something, I'll tell you. And I always try to do my best, you know, not just for myself or you, but just for the public in general, because I think at this point we really need the public's help. And I urge anyone with, any information just to come forward. And I think that time is, the time should have been over a year ago now. Should have been on May 2nd, but some people failed at bringing information forward. And I urge everyone to bring anything forward that they have. Even if you message me and tell me the information, I'm willing and open to, pass it along to investigators, if no matter what it is. I have a direct line to them, and that's the best way to move things forward, because being involved in the case, they take everything I say seriously. So I think if anyone has any information, call Crime Stoppers, go to your local RCMP detachment, call Major Crimes, or send it along to me, and I can forward it to them. And I think that's just about what I have to say tonight. But I want to thank you, Charmaine, for giving me the opportunity, and having a platform where I can speak openly, and try to help the public, and you know, try to help Lily and Jack, because at this point they need all the help they can get, and I want the public to really, message me if they have anything, or message, the RCMP, or go into RCMP or Crime Stoppers, or do anything they can. It's been too
Absolutely.
long.
Yeah, it's all about keeping Jack and Lily's faces and names out there, even though I haven't shown their face once. I had a plan, Daniel. You ruined it for today, but we'll get to it another day. All right,
Yeah, I
I
ruined a
gotta
lot of
go.
things, Charmaine. You have a
It's
great
all
night.
good. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody have a great night. I gotta end it. He's gonna attack me, you guys. I gotta go. Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.